most exciting words in the world of motorsports.
In this 34-race track for the NASCAR Winston Cup, there's a delicate balance of driver, car, and team when looking for the narrow edge of victory.
Well, I've been talking to a friend who told me this circus never ends. Well, that's alright, I know that scene, but all that juice will make it mean. And every little secret feels like gravel in your soul. And you find yourself believing that it's all under control. You're going too fast to avoid the cost of trying to get back what you never really lost. Well, there's what you have and what you dream, and life is somewhere in between. And you wind up throwing curses at an undeserving moon, contemplating verses from an early villain tune. But you're going too fast to avoid the cost of trying to get back what you never really lost. You're going too fast to avoid the cost of trying to get back what you never really lost.
It's NASCAR's oldest superspeedway and a place that can make heroes out of newcomers and can humble the most experienced veteran. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, and the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing welcome you live to Darlington Raceway in South Carolina for the NASCAR Winston Cup TranSouth Financial 400. It's the 5th race of the year. Mike Skinner continues to hold on to the points lead, coming into this race by just 32 over Bobby Labonte. He has been the story here this weekend, however. His possible road to the NASCAR Winston Cup after getting off to such a great start in 1999 suffered a serious setback on Friday.
This has been a weekend to forget for Corpus Christi native Bobby Labonte. On Friday morning, just after 9:30 a.m., he slammed the turn 2 wall hard in his Busch Grand National Pontiac, suffering a fractured right scapular shoulder blade and numerous other bruises. Today, a battered but not beaten Bobby Labonte, barely able to move his right arm without significant pain, will attempt to start and complete a limited number of laps in his Interstate Battery Pontiac prior to giving way to substitute driver Matt Kenseth. Now, with Bobby Labonte sidelined by injury, the most likely prospects by history to visit victory lane are Ford drivers Jeff Burton or Dale Jarrett or Chevy chauffeur Jeff Gordon. Not only did Burton record back-to-back runner-up finishes last fall, he dominated this race a year ago, leading 195 laps, only to fade late and finish 5th. Dale Jarrett used poise, patience, and premium pit work to log back-to-back wins in this spring race the past 2 years. And Jeff Gordon, well, no driver in the 49-year history of famed Darlington Raceway had ever won 4 consecutive Southern 500s until he did it. You think that's impressive? Well, he has won 5 times in his last 7 starts here. Now that is remarkable.
Tony Stewart is a flashy rookie with talent. Johnny Benson outqualified the rest of the Roush stable. Rick Mast is a veteran with a revamped race team. Mike Skinner is still the surprising points leader. 4 men, all starting in the top 10. Today they carry the hopes of their crew and the spirit of every driver that's ever dreamed of winning at stock car racing's highest level. Today they must accomplish this difficult task at one of the sport's most demanding tracks. And that is a major effort to accomplish. But there's no Cinderella in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. All you'll find here, dedicated men, those that have already achieved their goal of winning, and those that sincerely believe they're about to.
Rusty Wallace started off the season with 3 straight top 10 finishes, but last week in Atlanta, some unusual handling problems dropped him to a 35th place finish. Today at Darlington, Rusty starts 26th. He wound up 12th Saturday afternoon in happy hour, so look for him to charge to the front of the pack. Mark Martin starts from the 3rd spot. He has a win this year and is 5th in points. But don't blame him if he feels a little angry at Darlington. His engine failure in last year's Southern 500 here eliminated his championship hopes. So Mark is out for revenge, and in happy hour, he tamed the lady in black with the fastest lap. Martin might just dominate today.
Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, and Ned Jarrett with you in the booth. Here's the Everstart Walmart starting grid. Gordon and Benson in the front row. And guys, this place opened back in 1950. It was the first paved super speedway for NASCAR. A lot of drivers back then had a tough time figuring it out. Some of them still haven't figured it out.
Hey, you're right. They had trouble figuring it out at 100 miles per hour, and you can see the speeds they're running today. As they get faster, it becomes more difficult.
This track chews up tires. Tire management is a key factor here at Darlington. You've got to race the racetrack. Don't race the other drivers.
3 drivers missed the field. Derek Cope, Dave Marcus, and Rich Bickle all failed to qualify. It's the second time that each of those drivers has failed to make a field in 1999. Onboard cameras will be throughout the field here this afternoon. On board there with Bobby Labonte, who will be giving up his seat to Matt Kenseth soon. Here's the race analysis. 293 laps, almost a $2 million purse. Boy, those tires are going to wear out at least by 60 laps. And the race record is held by David Pearson. Here's Jerry Punch.
Because of the concern over tire wear, NASCAR is considering a possible caution flag around lap 30 if the yellow hasn't flown earlier. Now, that caution flag could play right into the hands of Bobby Labonte if, and I would say if, he could last that long.
We are again battling weather. We did last week at Atlanta, and we have apparently some weather moving in on us. It's a narrow band of showers, however, that if it does occur at all, will only last for a brief amount of time. But that's the reason why we are accelerating the start here this afternoon of the TranSouth Financial 400. We had heavy storms overnight about 2:30. Everybody was awakened by thunder and lightning. Let's hope we don't have that level of activity here this afternoon. The field moves out of corner number 4, looking for the green flag in the beginning of this 5th race of 1999. Here we go. The lead as they go down the backstretch. Benson looked like trying to challenge on the outside. That isn't the line that he's going to need. He has never led a lap at Darlington. Johnny Benson has not, and he will not lead the first one here. Jeff Gordon will, and Mark Martin will run second.
So it's Kevin LePage trying to make a move on the inside of Rick Maston. Contact between the two.
Boy, that could have resulted in a major catastrophe here on the second lap of the race, but fortunately it did not.
They only had 35 cars right behind them, ready to run over them if they had some kind of problem. Never seen Elliott Sadler, great qualifying run. And look at Mark Martin coming up and close the gap on Jeff Gordon.
Yes, Martin's car is painted differently this week. They're promoting the Xerox line, Valvoline-owned products.
He was fastest yesterday.
Oh, somebody has a problem. There's a slow car down on the bottom of the racetrack.
Schrader sideways and into the wall.
And there's Earnhardt in the crash. Jerry Nadeau in the crash. That was Rick Mast that was slow on the bottom of the racetrack.
So caution is out. This will be the break that Bobby Labonte looks for.
Looks like that Earnhardt and Nadeau going to be able to pull away. Here's the initial contact between LePage and Mast.
There we see the contact. I wonder if maybe the left rear tire was cut on Rick Mast's car. There we see Mast very, very slow at the start-finish line, trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack. Sterling Martin, and we see the smoke out of the back of the car. I don't know what the problem is, but there, Schrader, all of a sudden, gets too high going in the first corner. Man, he slams the wall, comes across the racetrack with Earnhardt and Nadeau, and it doesn't look like that Earnhardt had a lot of damage to his car.
I think that perhaps Schrader might have gotten some contact from Steve Park, Ned.
I believe he did too, Bob. It looked like because the car just shot all of a sudden up, going around and into the wall.
And from another angle, There's Schrader sideways and up into the outside wall. Then he comes down across the track, and there collects Earnhardt and Nadeau.
But Steve Park was way behind Kenny Schrader when he first spun.
He was, yeah. There was not contact between those two.
Yeah.
Let's see what Wally Darling back in the Budweiser onboard camera sees as he's racing with Darrell Waltrip. Man, he goes in the corner and goes through the smoke, and luckily nothing was there when he got there.
And from the Pennzoil copter cam.
There we see the contact between Steve Park and Kenny. And I guess that is what got Schrader going, as a matter of fact. Bob, good eyes. Those new eyes are working great, aren't they?
Well, I thought I saw it too the first time, and then the next replay didn't show it.
Schrader walking away. Jerry, what was the situation with Rick Mast?
Well, guys, Benny was exactly right. As Rick Mast came out of turn 4 down the straightaway, the left rear tire went flat. He was on the inner liner. He jumped on the brakes, and they began to back up behind him as they split Mast to go around. That's when it all became a jumble in turn 1, and it broke loose with Schrader and others involved. Now Mast brings the car number 98 down pit road, the Burdett Yarborough Motorsports Ford Taurus, and they will change all 4 tires. The left rear tire completely flat. Most of the rubber has been chewed away. He is actually on the inner liner as he sits on pit road. Changing left side tires. Mast and his crew still looking for a sponsorship. A 10th at Daytona, a 16th last week at Atlanta. They were hoping for a great run today. There is some sheet metal damage in the left rear, but now they make sure they get it completely serviced, and he is down and away. Let's check in with John Kernan.
They just got the word 1 lap to go, and Bobby Labonte has decided not to come onto pit road to make the driver change with Matt Kenseth. What they had wanted to do was waited for the field to close up as close as they could, and then they were going to come in. But then they got the word that now it is 1 to go. Bobby says he feels fine. He's just riding around out there. The car feels pretty good. And Matt Kenseth waiting. He will go into the car, in the 18 car, in the next available opportunity. Labonte is hoping to get a caution again soon.
And I think right now, Bobby Labonte is waiting for the rain. As you look over towards turn 3 and 4, it's dark over there. That's where the weather comes in from this area, and it looks like it is going to rain. And if it doesn't, Bobby Labonte made a serious mistake. But right now, I think he's waiting for the rain to make that driver change.
You know, that he has to be in pain because of the broken shoulder blade that he suffered on Friday, but he's staying out there as long as he can. Of course, the most important thing was just to start the race and take the green flag, because he will now earn points wherever that car finishes. So we're a half a lap away from getting the green flag and a resumption of the race once again. Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, Johnny Benson, Mike Skinner, and John Andretti are the top 5 as they'll get the green flag at the start of lap number 4.
Has to be the start of lap number 6.
Oh,
Our score monitor isn't working properly right now, Bob, so pay attention. Pay attention.
Boy, a tough break for Rick Mast, huh? He had his best start ever here at Darlington, as 6th, but all that is for naught now as he is back at the rear of the field once again.
But he has a good race car. He's very patient. He can get back up through there.
And here we go once again as the green flag comes out.
Tough break for Kenny Schrader, too, in that Skull Chevrolet. It's been rough luck for that team the past couple of races.
Martin's got to run. But he couldn't make it past that time.
Everybody pretty much in single file through about the first 20, 25 positions. In fact, almost all the way down through the field, we have single file racing. Everybody trying to be patient and take it easy in the first few laps.
There we see Bobby Labonte and Ricky Craven back there.
Jeff Gordon with 5 wins. The last 7 starts at Darlington, leading again, but Mark Martin is right on his bumper.
Right along with Rusty Wallace, the Miller Lite onboard camera as he goes through turn 2. See Jimmy Spencer up there, 2 cars in front of him.
Kenny Wallace just ahead, and for a taste of the race, let's check out some onboard telemetry courtesy of Brian from Rusty Wallace. Down to about 142 miles an hour. Tries to get to the inside of Kenny Wallace, his brother.
Boy, did he have a great run off turn 4, but he could not get past. There we see Jerry Nadeau on the bottom of the racetrack. Looks like he's going to the pit area after that crash he had on the second lap.
He came down the front straightaway very slow, and he continues to go slow down the backstretch. A lot of damage to his car.
So Rusty Wallace on the bottom, you see the brake indicator means that when he goes down the straightaway, he's going to touch the brakes. We'll see how much brake he uses. Really not much, because right now they're holding him up a little bit. He isn't running at top speed.
Here's Jeffrey Bodine, Chad Little, and Dale Jarrett, who is on the move. Jarrett started back in the 21st position, takes the spot away from Chad. Jarrett has won the last 2 TranSouth Financial 400s, looking for his 3rd victory in a row at this race.
Jeffrey Bodine continues his great running in 19. We see some damage to the left front fender there. Let's see what happened. There we see Kenny Irwin, the Hamilton Texaco car, going by Jeffrey Bodine. Go down in turn 1. Ooh, that was close.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there.
And Bobby Hamilton just goes by both of them.
Jeffrey Bodine has run very well all season long, but his finishes do not indicate that. He's had 3 DNFs out of the 4 races, but certainly does not indicate how well that team, the new team owned by Joe Bessie, has gotten off to a good start in 1999.
There we see those dark clouds back behind 3 and 4, turns 3 and 4 here at Darlington Raceway, as Elliott Sadler gets a challenge now from Kenny Irwin down the front stretch. Irwin falls back, follows Sadler.
Meanwhile, up front, it is still Jeff Gordon showing the way over Mark Martin. Johnny Benson is running 3rd, followed by Kevin LePage and Mike Skinner. The top 10, John Andretti, Bill Elliott, Jeremy Mayfield, Jeff Burton, and Tony Stewart. ESPN's live coverage of the TranSouth Financial 400 from Darlington being brought to you by Yamaha, makers of the radical YZF-R6 sport bike and the new 1600cc Roadstar Cruiser. By Quaker State for protection beyond 3,000 miles under any driving conditions. And by EverStart Battery, all the cold cranking power your truck, car, boat, or mower will ever need. Available at Walmart. And you can see the dark clouds once again that are very close by beyond turns 3 and 4 here at Darlington. But right now the rain is staying away. The race continues, and Jeff Gordon continues to hang on to the lead over Mark Martin.
And he's got himself a pretty good lead, Bob, a little more than a second.
Quite a gap back to 2nd place Mark Martin, and then a huge gap back to 3rd place Johnny Benson.
In fact, it's almost 2 seconds from Gordon back to Martin, and more than 3 seconds back to Benson.
There is Benson running along in 3rd position. And right behind him is Kevin LePage in the 16 car.
So Jack Roush right now has 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And LePage is getting a challenge from Jeremy Mayfield. And Mayfield, the 12 car, is on the move as he goes underneath LePage and takes that spot away.
31 car of Mike Skinner dropping back just a little bit. He's lost a couple of positions. John Andretti in the 43 and Jeff Burton in the 99, both ahead of him now. And up to challenge Skinner next will be Tony Stewart. Meanwhile, Jeff Burton has his eye set on John Andretti, but no longer. He takes that position away. So that moves Jeff Burton up to 6th place and puts Andretti back to 7th. John has an update on Dale Earnhardt, who was involved in that early crash.
Earnhardt pitted. It was just sheet metal damage. They changed tires, put in some more fuel. But the important thing that was damaged, the grill. The crew says they're going to have to fix that under the next caution. Also, Jerry Nadeau lost several laps on pit road as they fixed the toe out on the right front of that car. Now to the front stretch, and Bill Weber.
And they work on the Skull Chevrolet of Ken Schrader, who's talking it over with crew chief Sammy Johns right now. We just got back from the infield medical center. Obviously very distraught. Kenny, what happened?
Something happened up front, and everybody started checking up. And Steve, I guess it was Steve Park, got in the back of us, but not a lot he could do. I mean, you start running out of room in the back, and got into us, got us turned. Thought we had it gathered up, but didn't make it.
It's in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to get it back out the way they're talking. Looks like it's mainly just bolt-on items, but a whole lot of them.
Okay, he's able to smile, but he's very disappointed.
Indeed, he should be after being involved in an incident very early in the race. In fact, on lap number 2.
Good racing going on back in the pack here, Bob, from about 10th to 20th position. There's Bill Elliott, Dale Jarrett, as Dale moves on the inside of Bill. He's been moving up through the pack pretty good. He started 21st and now up, I think, to about 11th or 12th.
See, Mike Skinner has now dropped back to the 10th spot, and then we see Dale Jarrett going by Elliott to take over the 11th spot.
Jerry, Skinner has lost some positions here recently. What's going on with him?
Bob, everyone made changes this morning anticipating a green racetrack, meaning the car would be very, very tight. But apparently Mike's car is just significantly tight now. The car is pushing up across the racetrack. The Winston Cup points leader started 4th and is now trying to hang on to the 10th spot. When he goes in the corner and turns the steering wheel, he almost has to cross his hands over to get the car to stay. And he's riding right up near the wall, so you don't need to slip much or you'll be right in the concrete.
Skinner off to a great start in 1999, has the points lead, but he has been 26th or worse in all 5 starts here at Darlington and has never finished in the lead lap here.
And I tell you what, he has something very, very valuable to protect. The NASCAR Winston Cup points lead. And that's one reason, as this car is difficult to drive right now, that he's being as careful as he can be.
He's just about to drop out of the top 10. Dale Jarrett is challenging him for that position. Right now, Skinner is holding off the challenge.
Yeah, he ran that high line. Look at Skinner going up, hoping that bank will help that pushing problem as he comes off the corner. Now Jarrett has a run, but Skinner holds on to the spot. See Michael Walton back there. 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. Joe Nemechek back at 14th.
While this is going on, Jeremy Mayfield has moved up to 3rd. Johnny Benson has dropped back to 5th.
Now looks like Jarrett may get him. Once again, Skinner's car skates up the racetrack, and Jarrett is able to pull alongside. And with that inside line going out into turn number 1, will take the 10th position away.
And we've seen what happens when guys try to race each other going down in turn 1. Almost every time there will be contact between the two cars.
Almost contact between Elliott and the 31 car coming off of turn 4. Elliott had a good run. He ran up on Mike in a hurry, but Skinner holds on to the position.
Here comes Nemechek, and here comes Kenny Irwin up the different lines through turns 3 and 4.
Depending on how your car is working.
Right now, see, Mike Skinner is holding up this group of cars, and that's got all the rest of the cars coming in. And now we see Irwin and Nemechek go in that corner side by side.
And Nemechek gets pinned up against the racetrack behind Skinner, and so he's going to lose at least 2 positions and maybe 3 as here comes Jeffrey Bodine alongside Nemechek. We're on board with Elliott Sadler.
And look at the Elliott. He just barely touched the brakes because they're going so he's not able to run wide open. And Chad Little goes by, and that John Deere car takes a spot away.
Those tires are getting worn now. Those cars beginning to slip around on the racetrack.
Ward Burton also takes a spot away from Elliott Sadler. And here comes Robert Presley. So the Wood Brothers car is not functioning properly.
Here comes the world. It seems like Elliott Sadler's mind. He looks up, and there's just an endless string of race cars that will keep going by him. There's Kenny Wallace on the inside, the Square D car. Here comes Ernie Irvin, and also Terry Labonte, and Rusty Wallace will be the next car.
And Johnny Benson continues to drop back. He was running 3rd at one time, but now He is dropped back to, I believe, 8th position.
The 4 car, Bobby Hamilton started back in 17th position, so he is moving forward.
7th and 8th right here, Hamilton and Benson.
Just to give you an idea of how, after the tires are worn, now we've run 32 laps. Jeff Gordon qualified at a lap time of 28.40, so 30 something. Right now he's running about 31.50, 3 seconds slower than he qualified.
Which is probably 10, 12 miles per hour average speed slower than he qualified.
Yeah, and he's pulling away from the field.
And here's Jeremy Mayfield taking 2nd position from Mark Martin.
I think Jeremy's the fastest car on the racetrack right now. He has come up through the traffic. Mark didn't fight him, just moved over and let him go. He saw him coming, and he is running very, very strong.
Bill Weber, what's going on with Elliott Sadler, who continues to drop back?
Very loose, very, very loose in the middle of the turns and getting into the turns. His car is very loose. They're encouraging him to hang on as hard and as long as he can. They believe there's going to be a caution here in a few laps, perhaps for tires, perhaps for weather.
And it's going to be a question as to which it is for, because it continues to get very, very dark here at Darlington as the black clouds move in. But right now, the race continues under green as 34 of 293 laps have been completed. Jeff Gordon leads Mayfield and Martin. Darlington, South Carolina, as the NASCAR Winston Cup Series rolls on in 1999. It's a TranSouth Financial 400, and the Pennzoil Copter Cam is overhead in the very dark skies, and the wind is also beginning to pick up. We understand that rain is very, very close, but maybe it will stay away. We certainly hope so. Mark Martin is now in 3rd position, and look at the new leader. It is Jeremy Mayfield, who caught quickly Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, he came up very quickly on Gordon. He was taking off about a half a second a lap faster than when he caught him. Jeff Gordon just didn't fight him. He saw him coming in the mirror, and he said, I can't hold him off.
And watch, it just pulls away. And that got all everybody in the grandstand on their feet when Jeremy Mayfield went by the Jeff Gordon. We're told that the rain is about a mile away. As a matter of fact, people in the grandstands below us are starting to put on some rain gear. So obviously, I guess there's some raindrops around the speedway.
And the wind has really picked up. It is blowing down the front straightaway and has increased in velocity tremendously in the last few minutes. Here's Mark Martin, who is in 3rd position, and he is being pursued by the 99 car of Jeff Burton. 3rd and 4th. And up to 5th position from his starting spot of 10th is Tony Stewart.
And the caution flag is out.
And so for the 2nd time this afternoon, the caution comes out. The first was for a crash. This one, we presume, is because of the wind and the rain that is imminent.
Yeah, that wind is blowing in the direction from where the clouds are, and so it looks like it's blowing it in here in a hurry.
We can see as heavy as the wind is blowing, this rain is not going to last long. It's going to come in. If there is rain, it's going to be out of here quickly.
Well, in watching the radar this morning, we told you about the tremendous line of thunderstorms that moved through about 2:30 this morning. The radar indicated there would be another squall line through here sometime this afternoon, but past that, it was all clear. And so this should be a very fast-moving line of storms, and when it is out, then hopefully we'll be finished with the rain for the rest of the day. You can see that there are some clear skies in areas around the track.
And now you know that these guys will pit because it's early in the race, only 42 laps completed. It doesn't matter if it rains or not. They need to get in and get those tires. As a matter of fact, there we see Jeremy Mayfield coming down to the bottom. All the cars on the lead lap will be making pit stops, changing those tires and adjusting those chassis. What a great break for Mike Skinner, Elliott Sadler, several drivers.
Jeremy Mayfield leads them down. Jeff Gordon right behind him. Let's go to Bill Weber.
Well, Jeremy Mayfield has told his Mobil 1 crew that his car is very good. They don't anticipate any changes here, except, of course, they'll get 4 fresh tires and plenty of fuel. So the right sides will go on. He's come to a good stop, gets a drink. They're telling these guys that the rain, a big swath of it is coming, but then it should clear out. They told Jeremy he's got plenty of room to get out. Jeff Bodine has pitted in front of him. Left side tires going on, bolting on the lug nuts, and Jeremy Mayfield's on his way. He stalls it. He stalled it. Here's Jerry Punch.
Right side and left side tires already on the 24 car. It's a 24, the 6, then the 99 in that order. Routine pit stop down here. And likewise, the crews have been told by NASCAR officials you could expect the bottom to possibly drop out in the next few minutes. Still on pit road, the 31 car. Now Mike Skinner down and away after a major chassis adjustment. Remember, he had a car that was so tight he couldn't drive it. Let's go back to John Kernan.
On the backstretch, Ernie Irvin is in. You get 4 tires, fuel. Also, the car is just a little bit tight, so they've got 1 round up on the track bar. Already the guys pitted on the front stretch have gotten their service and are making their way as Ernie's team has a pretty good stop, but he is back out there. We're still waiting for Bobby Labonte to come on to pit road. They have decided, since everybody else pitted, he'll come in next time by. He stayed out to lead a lap and possibly pick up 5 bonus points.
Plus the fact that that put him at the head of the pack when he comes in, as opposed to back in the pack, give him a lot more time to make that driver change if they choose to do that. Yeah, Brett Bodine overshot his pits coming in, had to back up, and there Dale Jarrett was coming out of his pits. They were about to collide. Brett still couldn't get in there the way he needed to, but at least they changed the right side tires.
Now we see him coming back in to change the left side tires. Now we see Bobby Labonte's pit crew getting ready for the Interstate Batteries Pontiac to come in.
Brett Bodine back in, Bill.
And you guys saw it and called it, so Brett comes back in for left side tires. It begins to rain harder and harder on the front stretch. Brett heads back out. Remember, pit road will be even more slick now.
And we see the guys putting the tarps on pit road to keep trying to keep those pit areas dry. John Kernan.
Bobby Labonte comes into his pit. He's already got the belts off. The window net is down. Matt Kenseth standing there. They will make a chassis adjustment as Bobby gets pulled from the car. He said he felt all right. Now Matt will go into the car. They'll have to get him belted up, hook up the radio, and make sure that they do not lose a lap as the rain starts to come just a little bit harder right now. But Labonte has gotten out of the car. Kenseth is inside, and they should have no problem getting him strapped up, hooked up, and ready to go without losing a lap.
You see Bobby Labonte look like the pain of him jerking him out of that car. He almost went to his knees when he stood up on pit road. Just the guy almost grabbed him by the shoulder to pull him out of that car. See Earnhardt making a good stop, and there we see the grill that John talked about.
There is Labonte with the broken right shoulder blade.
Looks like they're going to stop the cars over here on the front stretch as they continue that over there. But those cars that are on pit road, I think they need for them to finish what they were doing before they stop. But they are bringing them to a very slow crawl, at least over here on the front stretch.
There's Mike Helton, the minister that follows the circuit, talking to Bobby Labonte.
I'm sure it's tough for him to climb out, but with that injury that he received, it kind of makes it easy.
I said Mike Helton. It's Max.
Max, yes.
Helton.
Mike Helton works for NASCAR.
Yes.
All right, down to Jerry Punch.
And Ned, the reason they're going to stop them right here at the end of pit road is NASCAR has told all the crews to get to your car as quickly as you can with a tarp to cover it. They know this rain may not last very long, but it is expected to be a downpour for just a few minutes, meaning they don't want to get water in the car or in and around the engine compartments. They're going to try to cover them as quick as possible. Let's go back over to John Kernan and talk with Bobby Labonte.
Bobby, very gutsy performance considering the amount of pain. What was it like?
Well, I tell you, they worked on me earlier today, and they got the paint where it was really pretty good. So, just racing the racetrack, that's what we're supposed to do here. So, wasn't really hurting that bad when I got in the car. So, hate to get out, but got to.
So I guess you couldn't shave this morning because you can't get your right hand up, huh?
Nah, I could have worked my left. I really didn't want to, though.
Thanks a lot, Bobby.
We may see a bearded Bobby Labonte here before long if Well, there you can see the tarps have been brought to the cars, and the raincoats are out here at Darlington, as at the end of 45 laps, this TranSouth Financial 400 is stopped by rain. Rain has brought the activity to a halt here at Darlington. How windy is it? Watch this. Moments ago. Doc, is your umbrella okay?
Last time I saw that much wind, Dorothy and Toto took off for Oz. Well, we are okay. We're back on the ground. Hey, Jeremy, talk about flying. You guys took off in a hurry in this one.
Got a great car. You know, we worked on it really hard yesterday afternoon and got it better. You know, we struggled yesterday morning and really got dialed in happy hour. And I think Rusty, you know, he made a good call. He changed shocks yesterday afternoon late, and we gambled and put them on this morning on the front, and so far so good.
And you opted not to bring the car. You came from the back of the field twice last year with and had top 5 finishes for a different car.
Yeah, I think this is a better car. It's one we run at Rockingham, run real good, and it's kind of our new style car is what we call it, and kind of gambled a little bit, but so far it's paying off.
Now what do? It's raining. The track is wet. You got to go. You're all geared up. You're running great. You get impatient, don't you?
A little bit. You know, that's what we all are, but when you got a great car like that, you can go back to the truck, kind of relax a little bit, knowing that knowing you're good. You know, if I was struggling right now, I'd be kind of like in a different mood. I'm in a pretty good mood right now.
Okay, go back and smile with the rest of the team. Jeremy Mayfield, what a great start he had. Came to the front in a hurry. Not many guys can run down Jeff Gordon at Darlington.
But overall, 1999 has not been good to Jeremy when you can compare it with a year ago. A year ago, he was second in points. He's 14th this year. And his average finish this year, 19.5. Last year, it was 6.3. But you just have a feeling that things are going to improve for Jeremy.
Yes, he has run good this year. Just had a little tougher luck than he had at this point last year.
Well, when the rains came, it scattered some people, including the drivers. Here comes Robert Presley running for shelter. But there's very little place you can go from a heavy downpour that is now beginning to fall on the racetrack here in South Carolina. But we'll have plenty more when we return.
Top of your screen, you see Kenny Schrader is going to back off the gas. Steve Park gets in the back of him. Miss Schrader back and forth, and boom, in the inside wall. Still working on the car. Also, Jerry Nadeau and Dale Earnhardt involved. There we see another shot, boom.
And it was all caused by the fact that Rick Mast had a tire that was going down, and everybody scrambled to avoid him. And then, when we completed 45 laps, the rain came, and that has brought out the red flag. Here's John Kernan.
I'm not a meteorologist, but sometimes I play one on television. Bob, we've put the regional radar from Florence, South Carolina into motion, and you see behind us, we've got some nasty stuff that looks like it's going to still work its way through. Now, where it ends up, that was about when the rain started. This image is about, at the end of it, is about 20 minutes old. It looks like it's about an hour loop, and it took at that time to move an hour. Around 45, 50 miles. All morning long, it's been moving at a rate of about 25 to 30 miles an hour, and it stayed fairly consistent. But we've also got some storms firing up on the backside of this. So after we get through here, we have probably about an hour or so window, and then we might have the potential for a few more thunderstorms to move into the area. So what was this? I heard Jerry does have an umbrella. Because we don't have one down here. Can you send one? Can you send an umbrella down, Bob? I mean, you know, look at this. The dew's gone.
Jerry, are you dry?
Hey, John, I've got a one owner. I'll send right over to you in just a moment. It's slightly used, but it'll be okay. We're over here actually in the Valvoline truck where Matt Kenseth had come over to talk and visit a little bit with Mark Martin. Matt, I got to ask you, first of all, you've got a pretty good scene to uphold here. You got a guy driving with one hand that was passing cars. Now you got to get in that car and pass them with two hands.
Yeah, Bobby said the car was pretty good, so that's a good sign. It was pretty decent in happy hour. And said it was a little loose today, so they were just going to make one small adjustment. And I'll get a chance. I just ran that little bit that we just made the switch. But Bobby was running pretty good, and hopefully I can do a decent job.
You had to be thrilled. I know when Bobby was injured on Friday morning, we were over in the care center, and once they knew he was going to be okay, the very first thing he did was reach up with his good arm, grab Jimmy Makar's shirt, and said, "Go talk to Matt Kenseth." There was no one else even thought about.
Well, that's flattering. I think they probably had a couple options going there, but that's definitely flattering, and it's it makes me feel good to be able to drive Bobby Labonte's car. I think they're second in points, and they asked me to fill in. That makes me feel pretty good.
Now, your buddy Mark Martin, a little bit under the weather here. I understand he's had the flu all week and had a tough time even being in the car and qualifying and practice. They told me he's gone over to lay down in a motorhome. Pretty tough to be in a race car when you don't feel good.
Yeah, I guess. I didn't even know that. I just got over here and he was already gone. So, yeah, there's been a couple people sick this weekend, but Mark's pretty tough. I'm sure that's not going to bother him too much when he's in the car.
Can't leave without mentioning a great run yesterday in the Busch car. You won the Busch Series of Diamond Hill Plywood 200. Tremendous momentum for you toward a Busch championship here in 1999.
Well, I hope so. There's a lot of things that go into winning a championship, but I feel like, we should have as good a shot as anybody. I feel like our program is coming around again. We got the motor thing under control, and, the Dwell Chevy ran really, really good all day yesterday, and the guys were back up to speed, had awesome pit stops for me, and, it was a total team effort yesterday. They gave me a great car.
Hey, good luck for the rest of the day.
All right, thanks, Jerry.
All right, yesterday you see the celebration in Victory Lane. Matt Kenseth had never run that well at Darlington Raceway, but wow, what a performance yesterday, Saturday afternoon here in a 200-mile, 147-lap race. And by the way, updating Mark Martin's situation, Mark has had the flu, is very, very under the weather, came back here when the rains began, changed out of his uniform, put his dry street clothes on, has gone back to his motorhome to lay down. Does not feel very good at all. And Mark Martin is about as tough as they get. When he doesn't feel well, folks, it's got to be a pretty significant illness.
Doc, don't mention weather on a rain delay, okay?
There is a lot of sickness going around at Darlington. I can attest to that. Well, you can tune into the Deuce at 8 o'clock for RPM Tonight, hosted by Reese Davis from the Miami-Dade Motorsports Complex. Highlights from the Grand Prix of Miami being held today. Also, the activity here at Darlington and the NHRA Gator Nationals. That's at 8 o'clock tonight. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. We'll be right back. Still raining at Darlington, not real hard, but it is still raining, and we're beginning to see a little bit of lightning in the area also. The TranSouth Financial 400 has been stopped because of the shower. Jerry Punch is with Jeff Burton.
We talked at the top of the show that there were 3 drivers who have finished in the top 5 in the last 4 in a row here, and you are one of those, Jeff. What a performance you had here last spring, dominating the day.
Well, I heard Dale Jarrett at Rockingham say that he's the guy that led all the laps but hadn't won any of the races, and that's the way I feel here. We've led a bunch of laps here but never figured a way to get the X-side forward in Victory Lane. So today we're starting off a little slower than we have in the past. Normally we run to the front pretty hard, and today we've just not been as quick as we need to be. But on the end of the long run, we were pretty good. We were as good as the 12. Well, actually, he was a little better than we were, but we were running the 24 and the 6 down. And my guys had a great pit stop and got me out third. So we'll wait this rain out and make some changes, and at the next caution, see what we can get.
That's sort of your MO, though. You're not that good on the short sprints on fresh tires, on sicker tires. But Frankie Stoddard said, give us 40 to 50 laps on the green, and we'll come back by anybody.
Well, we work hard on long runs. We work hard on getting our car to be set up for that, and that suits my driving style better. That's the reason we don't qualify well. It's not because my team doesn't know what they're doing. It's because I just don't have a knack for going fast on one lap. If they took an average speed in qualifying, I'd have a much better chance, but they don't do that. So we're working hard to improve our qualifying. But the positive of what we do is that we tend to race well. And even if we qualify poorly, because of the attention and because of the feel that I have and all the knowledge the team has, we can overcome that normally because our car drives so well in the race.
Speaking of overcoming, you lost a race car Friday afternoon in happy hour in the Busch Series, started a backup car, shotgun on the field, and you came toward the front pretty quickly.
Well, we had a good car. Everybody on the track gear team does a great job. If it's in the trailer, it'll run, and they don't bring any cars that aren't capable of running up front. I made some bad decisions Saturday morning on the car. I thought we were going to be tighter than we were, and I got the car too loose. So we weren't as good as we needed to be, but I couldn't complain too much. I'm the one that wrecked it, and so when you make a mess, you got to lay in it, and that's what I was doing on Saturday. But they did a great job. We had really good pit stops, picked some spots up in the pits, and I'm just real fortunate. I've got 2 great race teams.
Hey, I know you got some connections. Get the rain to stop, will you?
I don't have those kind of connections, but the France family, they're pretty stout. They might can get it done.
I think they're on the phone. Now let's check in with Bill Weber.
Okay, hiding out with Michael Waltrip, and just an entertaining few minutes here. But why are you 27th? You started better than that, didn't you?
Yeah, I started up there in 13th, and
lucky 13th.
That's right, and that's part of my story I was wanting to tell you about. Crept my way up to 11th, was just getting ready to crack into the top 10 and told the guys, I said, I got this figured out. I want to run about 30 or 40 laps. move into the top 10, the car be good, and then it rain, and we can sit around with our chest out making decisions on how we're going to win the race. And that plan was going perfectly right until I slid through our pit and pinned the jack man against the wall, and darn, came out. Where'd you say I was?
You're 27.
Yeah, well, that's no good. But we got a fast car this weekend, and I'm very pleased. Where's my PR man? I ain't even got a Phillips hat on, but I'm pleased with the Phillips Electronics, Klausner Furniture Chevrolet. I believe we're going to turn this into a commercial interview, but I'm happy with that. And I'm also happy with Kentucky Wesleyan. What a program out of Owensboro. They just seem to do it right in Owensboro. You know, the guy leading the races from Owensboro. I'm from Owensboro, 3-time champion DW. Nick Varner, pool shooting champion. Wesleyan, 7 Division II titles, more than any other school.
In college basketball.
Yeah, for the viewers that just tune in to RPM tonight and NASCAR today and just care about racing. Basketball is important to us from Kentucky, and of course University of Kentucky plays tonight at 5 o'clock, so if the rain will cooperate in some form or another, either quit or keep going, I'll be tuned into that. So.
How's your jack man?
He's fine. He's bigger than I am, and so I'm trying to avoid him. Right now, he's over under the garage, and when he comes over here, I'm going to go over there.
Okay, we'll let you go high. Thanks for talking to me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's Michael Waltrip, and he's had an adventurous few laps here at the beginning of this race. Always entertaining, too.
Always, yes. Well, let's check out the standings as they are at the moment with 45 laps completed. NASCAR's Winston Cup Series at Darlington with the TranSouth Financial 400. Here's the top 15.
Bill Elliott in 9th spot. Joe Nemechek 13th. Robert Presley up at 14th. Good run for Robert.
Now these are the standings after the pit stop.
Here's 16 through 30 now with Terry Labonte at the top of that list. Jeffrey Bodine back in the 20th position. Ernie Irvin running in 24th spot. There's Michael Waltrip back in 27th. And the remainder now of the rundown, just 3 cars off the lead lap, and one of those is back for repairs. That, of course, Ken Schrader. Back at Darlington, where the rain continues. When we showed you the rundown just a few moments ago, I said that Ken Schrader's car is back behind the wall being worked on. It was being worked on, but then when the red flag came out to stop the race, they had to stop work on the car.
Exactly. And Dale Earnhardt, I said, was back in 40th spot. That is not indicative of how he's running. He pushed the grill in on that accident with Schrader, so they spent some time trying to get that straightened out in the pit stop. That's why he's back in 40th spot.
Let's go down to John Kernan.
And Rick Mast had a tire cut, or what, a valve stem knocked off there at the beginning that forced you to lose a lot of spots?
Yeah, you believe that, man. First lap of the race, me and somebody got together. You know, got in my left rear and it snapped the valve stem off. The tire went flat. And then I was running around here with the tire flat, and then the caution came out. So that saved us. You know what I mean? We were able to get in here and get the tire changed.
And you've made up, what, about 16, 17 spots, 26 right now after restarting around 42nd, 43rd.
Yeah, we've the car came back pretty well. I mean, the car's been good all weekend. And, you know, the first lap, yeah, that's always a bummer. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Benny? You've been there. I know Benny's been there here before at Darlington. I remember that. But he probably won't tell us about it, though, will you, Benny?
Oh, no, that's one of his favorite stories.
Oh, yeah. I was just a little toddler in those days watching on TV, you know. Barely remember it, but I remember that happening. But the car's pretty good. I mean, we went all the way to the back. We up to like 26 now. The car's a little tight. You know, we made some adjustments, and this monsoon ever gets over with, maybe we'll see. Can you believe these fans up here, John?
No, I can't. It's incredible. They're still staying in the stands, isn't it?
It's thundering, it's lightning, and I guarantee at least a third of these fans are still up. I love race fans, man. I love race fans. Now, Benny and Bob and Ned, they've got the cushy job up there in the suite. Nice and quiet and protected. Caviar and shrimp. We're working guys.
I just got an umbrella. I mean, they gave Jerry an umbrella. I didn't even have an umbrella. Can you believe that?
Well, Jerry don't like get his hair messed up. You know what I mean? So I can understand that.
Hey, seriously, nothing on the car. No sponsor this week. You guys getting closer?
They're, you know, with, the team's in negotiations. Mr. Burdett and Cale, they've got some companies they're talking to. And, you know, I knew if we got to Darlington and we're in the top 25 or whatever in points, it would have to generate a little interest, you know. So we come in here 16th. You know, qualify good. If we can keep it up to date and run good, it has to generate some interest. You know what I mean? I mean, each week, or this is the 5th race, and we've been by far the best non-sponsored team out here, you might say. But you know, it all comes from attitude within this team. I got an awfully good group of guys on this race team that they really work their butts off every day. I mean, everybody in the Winston Cup Garage works hard. You know, these guys work hard and smart, and you know, to be behind the 8 ball each week and perform the way this bunch does is pretty, to me, it's pretty uncanny. You know, I mean, it's neat to be with a group of guys and an owner that just wants to see the car do good. You know what I'm saying? And it makes for a big difference. So we just got to get this monsoon over.
Yeah, I echo that sentiment too. Let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Standing out here talking with Mike Skinner. Mike, you guys have run 45 laps, and we're just sort of laughing. It's not a funny situation, but you guys have had about 35 chances to hit the wall, and you've missed it every time.
Well, we've been pretty lucky about missing the wall, Jerry, but, I thought I had some bad cars here before. This one here pretty much takes the cake, but we got a great race team here, and they're all in there right now trying to figure out how to change shocks or springs or sway bars or whatever we can, even if we have to give up a lap to do it. We're going to be giving up a lot of laps if we don't make our Lowe's Chevrolet a little bit better. And, man, I started that race. I said, we're not going to be too bad here in about 3 or 4 laps. I said, this thing's going south quick. And wasn't that bad in happy hour, but something's bad wrong with it. I don't know if we have a shock broke or gas pressure's down in one or something's bad wrong with our Lowe's Chevrolet. I was telling you before we got on camera, I know how Rusty felt last week. I tell you, it's a pretty helpless feeling out there when you can't run fast enough to even get in the way.
Well, explain to the fans, Mike, you had a push, and instead of the car just starting to go across the racetrack, it would go all the way up across. I heard Benny one time say, whoa, Mike, you're near the one, and you missed it. I mean, you're taking your hands and literally turning the wheel hard left, and the front end's going right.
It's almost like we've just, have no feel in the front end at all. The car, and then when you hit the throttle, it's just like it's picking the front wheels off the ground. And they looked at the tires and said, there's no cord showing or nothing in them. I said, well, they can't wear out because they're not on the ground. They're not touching anything. Something's like all bound up inside the front of our car. And we made some changes this morning and really thought they'd be in the right direction. And I don't know if we've got a miscue there, something, or what's going on. But, we got a great race team here and a very good pit crew. And they're going to change some stuff on the Lowe's Chevrolet, try to get that thing to where we can at least kind of keep up.
Let's get back up there to David Smith and Larry McReynolds, and they'll make some adjustments. Good luck the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Mike Skinner, Winston Cup point leader, will go back inside. They were drawing some diagrams. Larry McReynolds and David Smith and the crew trying to make some adjustments. Some of these adjustments would cost them laps on the racetrack, but maybe better laps now than a lot of laps later on with a bad handling car. Bob?
Jerry, Mike is the only driver to finish in the top 10 in all 4 races so far this year. And look at those finishes in 99 compared to where he finished in those events in 1998. A remarkable improvement. That's why he is atop the point standings in Winston Cup. Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. Look at that upper groove. It's dry. The trucks are circulating on the bottom of the track trying to get it dry. The good news is that the sun is shining here in Darlington and the wind has picked up a little bit, so the track drying is progressing very, very nicely. Now back to last year's TranSouth Financial 400. Back at ESPN welcomes you back to Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. We are live now, and the track process is continuing, and it's looking very, very good. Bright sunshine overhead now after a round of showers that stopped this event after 45 laps with Jeff Gordon at the front of the field. But you can see that upper groove there is dry at least through turns 1 and 2, and the jet dryers continue to do their job.
And, of course, that's where the cars race, is up there next to the wall. Of course, that's where they've been working on it to get the track dry. The drivers have been called to their cars.
Another positive sign, John Andretti has climbed into his STP Pontiac and is getting the helmet on, so everything's looking very favorable here.
John Andretti right now running in 6th spot currently as soon as they throw the green flag back on this field.
Now, you see one of the crew members working on Tony Stewart's car, number 20 there. I'm sure that NASCAR is allowing them to check the air pressures because they've been sitting there for more than an hour, and that could have changed.
Jerry Punch has more.
Guys, this rain delay may have been a blessing in disguise for current Winston Cup point leader Mike Skinner and the Lowe's team. I am sitting here with David Smith, the team manager. And, David, we talked to Mike when it began to rain, talked about how bad the car was, and he knew how Rusty Wallace felt last week in Atlanta when they were out to lunch. What have you decided to do? And I know you went through a lot of different scenarios.
Yeah, Jerry, we talked about, 3 or 4 different plans. What we decided to do, the car is pretty far off, so we got to do something pretty drastic. The car's too tight. We're going to we're going to move the trailing arm a little bit to make the right side wheelbase longer. We're going to adjust the bleed on 3 of the shocks to try to loosen the car up more. We're way off. We were a second and a half off on that first run. We can't afford to give up that much time here at Darlington.
You contemplated maybe coming in and changing 4 shocks. Could you do that and not lose but just a couple of laps at most?
Well, I think the plan that we had that we were talking about doing, we may have been able to do it, 1 shock at a time and not lose a lap. Taking it off the first stop, throwing the tires back on, coming back in and putting the shock back on. But that's pretty dramatic. Don't know if we can do it without losing a lap, especially being in the back of the field and coming in. You're already giving up 30 seconds of that pace lap. So we can make these changes pretty quick. Hopefully it'll fix this low Chevrolet when we get back up front, keep this points lead.
Okay, David, thanks a lot for joining us. So Mike Skinner currently being shown in 23rd position. He started 4th, and you talk about drastic moves. Well, it takes drastic measures when you want trying to hang on to a very valuable Winston Cup points lead. Let's go to John Kernan.
Back here with Jimmy Makar. And Jimmy, Bobby's out of the car. Matt Kenseth's ready to restart the race. What do you hope to accomplish?
Well, right now we just need to get the car home in a decent finishing position. We're real fortunate here. The Lord blessed us really well with this rainstorm. It couldn't come at a better time to get Bobby out and Matt in and not lose any laps. And so the car, Bobby said the car drove good for him not being in it at all this week. He told Matt he had a good race car to go drive. So we just need to keep Matt to get him back toward the front of the pack. He did a great job during practice yesterday for us. We feel like we have a pretty good race car here. So we'll just see what he can do.
I just talked to Bobby over on the front stretch before coming over here. He said he was on the way out to the car to talk to Matt. What kind of words of advice do you think he's going to give him?
Well, one of the things he wanted to do was just talk to him face-to-face about exactly what the car was doing as he was driving it and what he thought about the race car and to make sure Matt understood what he felt and just to make sure that he knows that not to overdrive the car, that this is Darlington. You race the racetrack until the end of the race and to make sure he just understood that the car was good enough that he didn't have to get too aggressive with it.
And Bobby Labonte's one tough guy, isn't he?
No, I tell you what, he's my hero, no doubt. For me to watch that wreck on Friday and see him run 30 laps out here today, I tell you, the boys endured a lot of pain, and got to give a lot of credit to the trainers from the Panthers that were working with him. They really helped him the last 2 days get to feeling a lot better where we could get in that race car and go.
Thanks, Jimmy. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Back upstairs.
Here's the crash that they're talking about. It happened Friday shortly after Busch practice started. He was hard into the outside wall in turn 2, then hit the inside wall with tremendous force, obviously favoring the right side of his body at that point. He climbed over the wall and then collapsed. The medics were right there. And the diagnosis was a broken right shoulder blade. Bobby Labonte did start the race today. In fact, was passing cars and moving up. And then the rainstorm did occur, allowing him to get out of the car at Matt Kenseth to get in. Kenseth, by the way, was the winner of the Busch race yesterday.
And he was very good in that car in happy hour yesterday afternoon. And so he has a lot of laps on the track in that race car. So that should help him, even though he is at the rear. It's a good car, and I think he'll be able to come up towards the front.
Now, Jerry, what about rehab for Bobby Labonte? How long is he going to be out of competition, at least on a regular basis?
Well, Bob, ordinarily you or I, if we were to break our scapula or a shoulder blade, we would have trouble moving our arm at all. And you're talking 6 to 7 weeks for that to heal. Now, it's the very tip of the scapula, tip of the shoulder blade, the very point, they call it the wing, that snapped off when he hit the wall. Al Shuford is here. He's assistant trainer for the Carolina Panthers National Football League team as a part of Richardson Sports. He is a friend of Bobby Labonte and a number of the drivers. He took care of Ricky Craven. He came down, was called immediately, and worked with Bobby for the past 2 days. Put a unit in Bobby's motorhome to try to decrease the swelling. Now, he basically braced Bobby in the car prior to the day's race. And what Bobby told me about 10 minutes ago was he could take his fingers and walk up the steering wheel and grab the wheel. He couldn't move his arm around on the wheel because he didn't have any strength because of the broken shoulder blade. He also couldn't take his thumb and reach the radio button. So only under caution could he drop his arm down and grab the radio. He told the spotter, if you see me coming down pit road, tell the crew because I won't be able to tell you if I pit for a driver change. Now, what will happen this week? Bobby had scheduled a lot of things in Texas for Interstate Batteries and also a commercial for Pontiac on Tuesday. That will probably all be canceled. He'll spend every single day at the Panthers rehab facility in Charlotte getting the shoulder worked on. He will probably be able to drive a portion next week at Texas. They have a week off, and then comes, of course, Bristol. That one would be awfully tough. But in 1995, Bobby Labonte broke his left scapula here at Darlington. The next week, he ran 100 laps at Bristol, and 1 week later, 2 weeks after breaking the scapula, he sat on the pole at Martinsville, Virginia. So he is definitely one tough customer.
Hey, Doc, what's that noise I hear behind you?
Music to my ears, guys. They are firing them up. The sun is shining. Let's get it on at the track Too Tough to Tame.
We are ready. Here's how they're running. The top 15, Jeff Gordon at the front of the field with Mark Martin running in second, then Jeff Burton. Look down to Ward Burton, who's running in 8th position. He started 28th, so he has moved up well here in the early going. Here's Bill Weber.
With Ward's crew chief Tommy Baldwin, 28th to 8th. How good is your car?
I think it's pretty good. We were fighting a little tight condition early on in the run, and it turned a little bit loose off, so we made an air pressure adjustment. Ward said he felt pretty comfortable going into that long run there that we're end up hopefully going his last 15 laps, but the NASCAR threw the caution early for that rain, and that was a good call on NASCAR's part. But I think we're going to be in good shape. We'll probably play it by ear on this next long run here and see what we got to do next.
Have a good stop?
Yeah, we had a real good stop. I'm real proud of these Caterpillar guys, and it was probably a 16:20 stop. We went back and reviewed it, and a little bit slower than what I said it was, but we went, from 14th to 8th on that stop, and we can hang in there and get another good stop like that. Hopefully we can pick up a couple more spots here and then during the day.
You qualified 28th. You were the last guy to get a front stretch pit stall. That could pay huge dividends later today.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. We can't get our qualifying package down this year for some reason. We're going to have to work real hard on it, especially with this Texas race coming up. Ward's got to work real hard getting to the front, and it's using up a lot of the car, and it's just something we need to work on with this Pontiac Caterpillar car.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Last year they had good qualifying runs but couldn't put the finish on it. This year struggling a little bit in qualifying, but excellent performances on the racetrack. Remember, Las Vegas, that's the same car he's in today.
Yeah, they've run very well in all races so far this year. Let's take a look at 16 through 30. Notice that Rusty Wallace has moved up to 18th from 26th. But on the other hand, Mike Skinner has dropped back to 23rd after starting in 4th position. Now here's the rest of the way they are running on the track. With just 2 cars off the lead lap, Darrell Waltrip 2 laps down and Jerry Nadeau 4 laps down. Ken Schrader off the track, as he was involved in that incident very early on with Dale Earnhardt and Jerry Nadeau. The cars are started. We should be racing soon. Stay with us. ESPN's coverage of the TranSouth Financial 400 from Darlington Raceway is being brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people. By Bryan Foods, the flavor of the South and official hot dog of Darlington Raceway. And by RE/MAX. Nobody in the world sells more real estate than RE/MAX, the real estate leaders. Cars are moving, and that's a good sign, isn't it?
That is a good sign. They've got a little bit of work on pit road. As you see on the right side of your screen, a little water on pit road. As soon as they get that dried off, I think we'll be able to go racing.
And Mike Skinner's coming in, Doc.
Well, Mike Skinner will come down. Mike Sears will go out and put the jack beneath the car. Mike Lingerfeld and Kevin Gaybird will go out and adjust the trailing arm on the right side. What they will try to do is lengthen the right rear trailing arm, which will lengthen the wheelbase on the car. They will adjust the bleed in the right front, left front, and right rear shocks. If you just joined us, what they're trying to do with the current Winston Cup point leader's car is loosen the car up. The car is very, very tight. He went from 4th starting position to 23rd right now. And Benny, they're still making the adjustments.
Right here you see that's a tape measure they're using from the fender back to the wheel. And Larry McReynolds is holding the radio. I don't know what that is, but the front of the trailing arm has an eccentric. And he's got the button down, and he's telling to the guy, talking to the guy underneath, and telling him when he's moved it. The front of the trailing arm has an eccentric on it. They loosen the big nut and turn it, and they go back and forth with the trailing arm.
And the field coming down off of corner number 4, but Mike Skinner is able to get that work completed and gets out and not lose a lap.
Now that's pretty slick because they knew the guy was going to have to use both hands to hold that ruler up.
And he couldn't key the mic.
He couldn't key the mic, so McReynolds goes around and holds the mic key down.
Yep. Rusty Wallace getting set to go once again. Bill Weber is down in his pit. Rusty, by the way, is starting in 18th.
Yeah, and he is in 18th, and Skinner's bunch is pulling a Rusty down there, changing all 4 shocks. You brought the same car here you had last week. You've advanced some positions. How's it running?
Not too bad. It was a little tight when we started the race. We've made some adjustments, and you know, we have to take it from there. The lap times weren't really off that far, and about 1/10.5 or 2/10 or something like that. And just before the caution, had about 6 or 8 cars that were coming back to us. So we'll just have to see what happens from there.
You took that car back to the shop, Rob, and there was not a thing wrong with it. You had a good point here on Friday morning. That shows how close to the edge you can get. You can be perfect on Saturday, and one slight change and you're way off on Sunday.
Yeah, if any of these guys that race long enough, I tell you, they've all been through it. And I was just talking to Travis Carter down there. Don't be surprised if Jimmy Spencer don't do a little chassis adjustment on his car. I mean, they're not happy at all. It's just the way it happens. The weather comes in and goes and leaves us on a Saturday night. Things change.
Okay, they're going back to work, and we'll go check out the tip on the Spencer car.
Still drying the track here. These laps are counting, by the way, so 47 have now been completed. One car that's had a considerable number of drivers in it already this year, the number 90 car. It's being driven by Ed Barrier this weekend, and because Derek Cope failed to make the race, his Bryan sponsorship has come back to the number 90 car.
Just for this race, see Ed Barrier adjusting the, looks like he's adjusting the rearview mirror, or I don't know what he was doing up there in the roof of the car. Maybe adjusting the mirror. Ed Barrier, you know, drives the NASCAR Busch Series car, the Lear Ford.
And this is his 6th NASCAR Winston Cup race. And there's Jimmy Makar talking with Bobby Labonte. They're going to be watching Matt Kenseth now the rest of the way as Matt tries to salvage a good finish for Bobby Labonte.
And Ed, you said that Matt was pretty doggone fast and happy hour in this car.
Yes, he was. He was very good yesterday afternoon. And the thing that he has to employ now is patience. Not get overly aggressive, but certainly try to stay on the lead lap, which I think he'll be able to do.
Jerry's with the guy we're glad to see, Doc.
I've been waiting for this moment to welcome back my good buddy Rick Hendrick back to the racetrack. I know you got to go to Daytona just briefly, but health made you stay home for the 500. Welcome back to a NASCAR Winston Cup racing, Rick.
Thank you, Jerry. Man, it's so good to see all these folks, and the fans have been great, and I missed them. I just, old body, I don't have the energy to be here all the time, but the last 2 they won, I was at home. So, you know, maybe we can change the luck today, and we can, well, I just appreciate it. Everybody, missed everyone, and got about another year of these treatments, but very thankful.
That's the question I want to ask. I mean, you're winning on the racetrack, and I'm here. You and I have talked on the telephone numerous times. You're winning the battle against the leukemia. The news is very, very good, Rick.
Well, yeah, that's, they say I'm in remission now. I got a couple tests here this summer and one at the end of the year, but I have to stay with the chemo and the interferon, which just takes all the energy. But pacing myself, I'm just very thankful, and I appreciate all the cards and letters from all the fans and love them all. And we just glad to be here.
Little brother did a pretty good job last year in your absence, standing in for you here in the pits, talking about John Hendrick leading this team to another title.
Well, you know, we got such a great organization, and they've just done such a great job, and I've been very blessed to be surrounded by such great people. And I asked the other day, they might not let me come back. They win so much when I'm gone, and John's 1 for 1, so you know, it's just, this is the best medicine on earth for me right here.
Glad to have you back, my friend. We look forward to seeing you as often as you can get here.
Well, I'm going to do my best. Thank you.
Rick Hendrick back at a NASCAR Winston Cup race. The sun is shining, and now my afternoon's been made because I've seen my good buddy back at the racetrack, guys.
Sure is nice to see Rick back with us, and I hope he is for many, many more races. Well, the red flag lasted 2 hours and 46 minutes, and we are still under caution, but we should be getting green before too long. Stay with us. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, and the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing are at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina as we continue our coverage of the Winston Cup Series for 1999. Today, it's the TranSouth Financial 400, which has been stopped by rain. But now we are set to go back racing in just a very few moments. 51 out of 293 laps have been completed. The sun is shining and things are looking very good. Jeff Gordon is at the front of the pack. Here's Jerry Punch.
And Bob, you just said it, the sun is shining. When the race began, it was overcast, it was cool, it was about to rain. And now with this sun out, the track may change drastically. A moment ago, Ray Abraham was talking to his crew. He said, you know, maybe we should have changed something on that first pit stop. We were tight in and loose off with the car number 24, and now with the sun out and the track different, we may not be nearly as good as we were initially in this race. We'll have to wait and see. Let's check in up where Bill is.
21st to 7th for Dale Jarrett, the two-time defending race winner here of the TranSouth Financial 400. Right now on the racetrack, and what he feels is a very good car, patiently able to carve his way to the front of the field. As Todd Parrott told us earlier in the day, a lot of little changes. Right now, DJ has just told his crew to remind NASCAR, because it's so late in the day, the position of the sun and the reflection off the track will be a factor. It will be critical to keep the windshield clean. John Kernan.
Well, we saw right as the rain started to fall, Bobby Labonte get out of his race car and Matt Kenseth get into the race car. Matt's now in it. His crew are waiting for pit road to open, because as soon as pit road opens, they will come down, put on 4 fresh tires, because during the driver change, they didn't have time to make any tire changes. They did make a chassis adjustment in the left rear, though, but now they're just waiting for pit road to open so they can service the 18 car.
And you might say, well, Mike Skinner came in on pit road, and how did he make that change? Because you can pit, there is a penalty. You have to start at the end of the longest line for pitting when pit road is closed. But he was going to have to be back there anyway, so he really didn't lose anything.
Not really, and the 18 car is pretty far back there as well, so he wouldn't lose a whole lot if he came in. Lose about 4 or 5 positions.
90 car Ed Barrier going back out onto the racetrack. We're riding along with Wally Dahlin back right now.
Budweiser onboard camera. Also, here's Elliott Sadler in the Citgo onboard camera, right inside with Elliott. Tony Stewart, the Home Depot, running in 5th spot. Also, Rusty Wallace has an onboard camera as we look out the back bumper of his car. Rusty back in 19th position. Martin, the Valvoline, and again, this is a special car this weekend. Xerox, one of the companies that Valvoline owns. You remember Xerox and sponsoring Alan Kawicki.
Yep. 97 car may have a problem, Bill.
Not necessarily the car, Bob, but it's certainly going to be a problem for the team, because right now Chad Little's radio does not work. He can hear the crew and he can respond to them with hand signals, but he cannot talk to the crew. And a lot of times after a lengthy delay, especially one that involves rain, these little problems turn into big problems. So we'll see. They asked him to jiggle the cable to see if he could correct it. It hasn't worked, so they will have to overcome that handicap this afternoon.
I'm a little confused that Flagman has been given the cars signals, and I thought the signal was 1 lap to go, but the lights are on atop the safety car. 2 laps to go.
2 to go.
Oh, okay.
And that 18 car still has not come into the pits, although the pit road here on this side, on the main side, would have been closed because they had a jet dryer on it when the cars came by that time. Now it has left pit road, but let's see if the 18 comes in this time, because if they get the 1 to go the next time, it'd be too late.
Well, here's how they run the top 15 as we get set to go back to racing. Martin is second behind Gordon and Jeff Burton, Jeremy Mayfield, Tony Stewart, John Andretti. Here's 16 through 30 now.
See, Ernie Irvin in 23rd spot, started in 37th, so he's making pretty good progress pitting on the backstretch.
And the remainder of the lineup. Dale Earnhardt there in 36th spot. Mike Skinner has dropped back to 37th. And now pit road is open. We'll see if anyone comes in, including Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, but he's pitting on the backstretch, Bob, and they are getting the signal now for one more lap to go. And he's not going to be able to come into the pits, I don't think, and get back out before they would get the green flag. I don't know.
But he has no choice, Ned, does he? He really doesn't have a choice.
He's got 40-some laps on those tires, and Kevin LePage does come into the pits.
He's the only one, at least here on the front straightaway, that has come in. Let's go to John in the back pit.
They just opened pit road, and then they got the one to go, and Jimmy Makar not too happy about that. Matt Kenseth just now asking if they want him to come in anyway and pit, and they say, yeah, Bobby Labonte just made the call, said, yeah, pit. So it'll be 4 tires to go for Matt Kenseth, and now they canceled the one to go. We see that Jimmy Makar gets the good news from the NASCAR official. He wasn't too happy about that, but Matt Kenseth now coming down pit road here on the backstretch. Dale Earnhardt also coming in. Remember, he messed up his grill just a little bit, so they'll do some work on that as well. But right now we're waiting for Kenseth to make it in to his pit stall where they'll do 4 tires, not anticipating any chassis adjustments. They made a chassis adjustment on the left rear of that car when they made the driver change. But here he comes. He's about 5 pit stalls away. 4,000 RPM, second gear. Kenseth now goes to the attention of Bobby Labonte's crew. They'll swing around to the right side, replacing putting brand new tires on that, not putting the fuel in just yet, as Peter Jellin has the can of fuel. It will go in left side. So looks like a pretty good pit stop so far. No problems. All the lug nuts staying on. They've got them tight, full of fuel. Matt Kenseth is down and away.
And now they're getting the one to go signal here on the front stretch. So Kenseth and Earnhardt and the others who made a pit stop will fall in behind and will be ready to go.
And that was the right call by NASCAR to give them that extra lap. I'm sure they didn't take in consideration when they were counting those laps down that the pits had not been open. And you got to give these guys time if they want to pit and go back in. We see Earnhardt is still in the pits as they work on that car from maybe a little bit of damage that was done. He was in that early crash. No major damage done to the Goodwrench Chevrolet, but now he's down and away.
There we see some damage to the left front fender when they were working. But I would bet they were making a spring change or something like that on that car, trying to make it handle just a little bit better.
Well, 56 laps are going to be complete when they take the green flag on the start of the 57th lap. Let's hope we can get the entire race distance in here before it gets dark. 293 laps is the distance. Here's the overhead shot from the Pennzoil copter cam. And you can see the areas of the racetrack that still remain a little bit damp. But as far as the racing group is concerned, it's clean and dry. And the pace car makes the hard left onto pit road. So almost a 3-hour rain delay is over, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready to go back to racing in the TranSouth Financial 400.
So a good opportunity. Gordon's car must have pushed up a little bit, but here comes Gordon back. Mark wants to lead the lap, get those 5 bonus points.
And Mark Martin will lead this lap. Jeff Burton looking to the inside of Gordon. Making no effort, however, to pass for second. Jeremy Mayfield now goes to the inside of Burton. He takes third, and Mayfield is on the move.
Boy, did he get some traction, a good run off of that corner and went right around Jeff Burton. Now he moves up on Jeff Gordon.
And he's going to dispose of Jeff rather quickly.
Now Jeff Burton also is going to try to get by Jeff Gordon. Pulls alongside, and Gordon's car, Ray Evernham concerned they did not make the change. It's not exactly right now.
And here comes Tony Stewart also. He's passed. And look at the line go past Jeff Gordon as Andretti, Ward Burton, Dale Caron, and others come up on him.
And Jeremy Mayfield just took the lead.
Wow. Mayfield making a statement here on this restart. Mayfield ran 163.1, and the next best was Jeff Burton at 162.8.
Burton moved around Mark Martin now and has taken over second. They're getting racy here.
And all of a sudden, we got Fords up at the front of the field, and Tony Stewart here in a Pontiac is looking for third position. Here's Ward Burton along with Dale Jarrett and John Andretti. Jarrett to the inside takes the position away from Ward Burton. That moves Dale Jarrett to 6th.
And we see Jeff Gordon back in the 8th spot. I'm sure he's radioed Ray Evernham and said, look, we need to do this, or the car is doing this or it's doing that. They'll be making some changes next up.
And one thing that he did not want to do, he's very smart at not putting a lot of pressure on that right front tire on those early laps till the air pressure gets built up. He's very careful not to do that. Jerry Punch?
Guys, since the green flag came back out, Jeff Gordon hasn't said anything on the radio, but it's exactly what Ray Evernham was talking about. He knew they would be tight going into the corner. That's exactly what happened on the restart. The car 24 went up across the racetrack being tight, wouldn't turn, and therefore he got a car underneath him. And it's loose coming off, so he couldn't get back in the gas. And exactly what Ned said. He cannot panic. They've got to save that right front tire and hold on for a pit stop where they can make what will probably be an air pressure change and also taking a rubber out.
Now Jeff Burton closes in on Jeremy Mayfield for the lead. We've had 4 leaders so far: Gordon, Mayfield, Bobby Labonte, and Steve Park. One lap. Jeff Burton dominated this race last fall and finished in 2nd position. Right now he's trying to get to the inside and find the lead from Jeremy Mayfield as we bring you a Lowe's field summary in the manufacturer's points battle.
And these two cars running entire different lines to the corner. Jeremy Mayfield running extremely high, and Jeff Burton running low in these corners. Watch Jeremy Mayfield as he goes up the racetrack, up against the wall. Watch Jeff Burton right on the bottom of the racetrack.
But accomplishing the same thing.
Here's Mark Martin about a second behind those 2 running up in front of him. And then close behind Mark Martin is Tony Stewart, who started 10th.
Boy, Tony Stewart has had a terrific start to 1999.
He's been the highest finishing rookie in 3 of the 4 races so far. There is Jeff Gordon, who continues to run back in 8th position. And when we went back to green, Jeff Gordon began to fall back. Went from a 1.9 second interval on lap 60 to now 2.8. And look at his lap times.
And you can see just what Ned and I have been talking about tire wear. See lap, Jeremy Mayfield and Jeff Gordon both slowing down almost every lap. 0, 1, 2, 4, 5. And in 10 or 15 laps we checked it, it might be 31.5. Each and every lap, these tires just slow down a little bit.
And you remember a few laps ago, I told you that Mayfield ran a 163 point something. Now the top speed is 161.2. There they are, 1st and 2nd, Mayfield and Jeff Burton. Dale Earnhardt, who made a pit stop before we went green, has really passed quite a few cars. Now is up to 34th position.
I never see Matt Kenseth, Bobby Labonte car up in front of him, so Matt Kenseth has gained a couple of spots.
Kenseth up to 30th and Earnhardt in 33rd. And once again, Jeff Burton tries to challenge Jeremy Mayfield for the lead, but could not make a run.
In that corner now they're running almost in the same tracks. It's down in 3 and 4 that the line that the drivers are taking through the corner is so radically different.
Yeah, they're coming up on Darrell Waltrip. Put him another lap down.
That moves Darrell 3 laps down now. And of course the these turns are not only banked differently, but they are of different radius at the opposite ends. Banking in turns 1 and 2 is at 25 degrees. That's where they are right now. Down at the other end, they're banked at 23 degrees. Rusty Wallace picking up some positions. He is in 18th, and there goes Terry Labonte taking a spot away from him.
That was the old Dale Earnhardt trick, going in turn 3, and the car drifts up. And the car will dive back under. What that spot for now?
17th, 18th.
Sterling Marlin there in 19th, and there Jeff Burton finally gets the job accomplished and moves around Mayfield. And now Dale Earnhardt is trying to pass his teammate Mike Skinner as they battle for the 32nd position, and Earnhardt gets it. Earnhardt is the winningest driver among the active competitors here at Darlington with 9 wins. A victory here today by Dale would mean tying the all-time record by David Pearson. The 40 car of Sterling Marlin just went around Rusty Wallace, and here comes Jeffrey Bodine also.
And Ernie Irvin trying to make a move in the yellow car. Well, Rusty's car not working quite the way he'd like it right now. He's dropped back to 20th.
Understand he got a little loose and lost some positions. Let's see what happened.
There Rusty is coming off turn 2. He goes up the racetrack, has to get out of the throttle. Oh, yes, he did get loose. Had to back out of the throttle, which allowed Sterling Marlin, the Coors car, just to drive by on the outside.
And here is Chad Little, Jimmy Spencer, and Terry Labonte running together on the racetrack. That's 15th, 16th, and 17th.
Jimmy Spencer, we heard Robin Pemberton talking about Spencer, that he might make some radical changes because they were not very happy with the way that Winston car is running.
Jeff Burton has taken the lead now, and at the end of 72 laps, he leads Jeremy Mayfield, Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, and John Andretti at the TranSouth Financial 400.
How does it feel to know you just got a Midas muffler at a great price? It feels good. Economizer Plus muffler for $29.95 and our guarantee. It's worth it to go Midas.
Last time you made money in your sleep, you believed in the tooth fairy. But now, check in.
ESPN's coverage of the TranSouth Financial 400 from Darlington Raceway is being brought to you by Exide NASCAR Select, the official automotive battery of NASCAR. By the more than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Wolverine Boots and Shoes since 1883. Wolverine works anywhere. Back at Darlington, where Jeremy Mayfield has retaken the lead from Jeff Burton.
And he didn't have to fight too hard for it, Bob. He came up on Jeff Burton. Let's see if Jeff slips or whatnot. But Jeremy comes up and gets right on his back bumper, and then we're going to see Jeff move to the inside and let Jeremy go right by on the outside.
He looked up in the mirror, and all he could see was a windshield. He said, well, I guess he's close enough. I should just not worry too much about this.
And then an almost crash involving Ward Burton, Dale Jarrett, and Jeff Gordon.
Wow. I didn't think there was room for 2 cars side by side down there, and there they went 3.
And made it.
Made it.
So Mayfield now stretches his lead over Jeff Burton to about a quarter of a second. We saw the 2-car Rusty Wallace having some problems. He's back in 25th. What's the problem, Bill?
Well, the frustration continues. Rusty just told Robin Pemberton he's loose getting in and super tight getting off. Remember, this is the same car that frustrated them a week ago. But to show you how good of a race car it is, it's the car Rusty won with at Phoenix last year and finished 3rd at Rockingham last fall. So it's just right now, it's baffling them. They've got a long time to work on it.
Bill, I talked to Robin Pemberton this morning down there for a little bit. He said that he's concerned they really haven't adapted to these new rule changes the way that they probably should. I'm talking about the spoiler changes, the bigger rear spoiler and dropping that front air dam down closer to the ground. They're really struggling with that, Bill.
And that's That's one reason why Rusty said after Las Vegas that this team is going to have to test more, basically because they are trying to find the handle on race cars. They were thinking about testing at Michigan. They were thinking about testing at California. They're going to both those tracks to test to try and solve what for them has become a bit of an aerodynamic mystery, Benny.
Sure has.
And Jerry, the 99 a while ago, just seemed to back out and let Jeremy retake the lead.
Bob, remember earlier today we talked to Jeff Burton and said, you know, I've led the most laps here. How many times? How many times have I won? Zilch. Well, today he's trying a different strategy. 3 words on why he backed out on the 12 car go back by: saving the tires.
Here is Bobby Hamilton with the 43 of Andretti and the 22 of Ward Burton. That is 7th, 8th, and 9th.
And Ward Burton was 7th, and in one straightaway he goes back to 9th.
Jeff Gordon has really picked the pace up here in the last several laps. He is the fastest car on the racetrack right now.
There is Jeff Gordon. He's up to 5th. He ran back in 8th for a while after the restart, and then has once again began his move back up toward the front, up to 5th, but about 3.2 seconds behind the leader, Jeremy Mayfield. There's how he's cut the interval from 4.2 to 3.4 seconds.
And I'm really impressed that Gordon now is able to run as consistent as he is, although remember it was 30.1 just a few laps ago. Now they slowed down even another second, and Mayfield is down to 31.4, 31.3.
I tell you, you got to really admire him for the patience that he had there at the beginning. He was leading the race, but he didn't want to drive that car too hard on those first few laps and heat them up too much and let that air pressure build up too much. And he let it work in the way that he wanted it to at an easier pace, and now it's paying off for him.
We're on board with Tony Stewart now, who's in 4th position. We're looking back on Jeff Gordon, and as you indicated, Benny, Tony Stewart has had a very impressive beginning to his NASCAR Winston Cup career. Here's Joe Nemechek in the 42 and Terry Labonte in the 5 car as they run back for 14th spot.
Labonte closed up, tried to take the spot away, lost some momentum off the corner as Nemechek pulled away, so he'll now have to regroup and try this again.
They're running almost 15 seconds behind the leader, Jeremy Mayfield.
See Jeffrey Bodine, the Power Team Chevrolet, behind these two. Jeffrey is back in 16th spot.
Now, had everything gone right, we would be done by now, and you would be about to enjoy something else on ESPN. However, for those of you now tuning in for Racing to the Kentucky Derby, the Gotham Stakes, we invite you to tune over to ESPN2. That's where you can see this program. We're going to stay here live on ESPN, but for the National Car Rental Racing to the Kentucky Derby Gotham Stakes, please turn over to ESPN2 right now, and you'll see that event. And once again, the race between Nemechek and Labonte continues.
Boy, Terry Labonte is able to get a great run in the middle of the corner, but Nemechek gets that run off the corner. But now Labonte has that position. He will take the spot away going in the corner.
If he doesn't slide up and Nemechek able to come back under, which that does not happen, so he does keep the position. And they lost about almost a second to the leaders while they were battling back and forth. Now they're almost 16 seconds behind the leader.
There's Jeffrey Bodine now coming up to challenge Nemechek, and Ernie Irvin is also in position to make a battle out of this. Ooh, Ernie moving up quickly.
As we watch this and talk about the leaders, and the guy that's really in trouble right now is Mike Skinner. He's 25 seconds. The NASCAR Winston Cup points leader is 25 seconds behind the leader and still dropping back. That chassis adjustment they made by lengthening the wheelbase on the right side has not seemed to make that much difference.
3rd, 4th, and 5th. There they are. Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, and Jeff Gordon. You can see they're separated by about 4 or 5 car lengths. And by the way, for you Ken Schrader fans, he of course was involved in an early incident on the second lap. He is back in the race. And a lead change again as Jeff Burton takes it from Jeremy Mayfield.
Need 20 cameras around here to keep up with all the action.
Jeffrey Bodine now moves to the inside of Ernie Irvin.
I think Ernie's moved to the outside of Jeffrey Bodine, taking that spot away. It's one or the other, right? And here comes Rick Mast.
Rick, after having the flat tire early in the race, was all the way back at the back of the pack, has now moved up into 18th position. Mark just moves over and lets Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon go by.
Yep.
That's characteristic of Mark. He saw that they were coming up on him a little bit faster than he right now, so he remembers you got to race this racetrack, not race these other cars.
And once again, Jeffrey Bodine on the inside of Nemechek.
Now these guys are not thinking about that racing the racetrack. They're thinking about racing each other, and they're doing it. Certainly the fans love it.
Steve Park, as we see Elliott Sadler, the Sitco car, going a lap down, back in 38th spot. Jeff Burton goes by, Jeremy Mayfield goes by, and then these two cars look like they're dead solid even. I'm talking about the 99 and 12.
They're very, very close. Neither has been able to get away from the other. If one makes just a little bit of a slip and the other one gets a run on him, he passes him up, makes a lead change. So, yes, they look to be very, very evenly matched.
On board with Elliott Sadler, Rookie of the Year contender, who, as you indicated, just lost a lap. Now, a couple of former open-wheel drivers are going at it in Winston Cup. Here is Jeff Gordon to the inside of Tony Stewart, and Jeff Gordon has come to third.
And he's cut that margin down. You talked about when we saw that graphic a moment ago. He was a little over 3 seconds behind. Now he's 2.6.
Well, Joe Nemechek continues to drift back. Here's Steve Park taking a spot away, and Sterling Marlin will also.
He's right there.
All clear.
Keith Simmons spotted for the 42 car.
Try a little something. I can see you're either loose or tight or something terrible over there. Maybe if you can turn it a little bit earlier, get her straighter coming off at you there.
Joe is now back to 20th. Here's Johnny Benson and Robert Presley racing for the 12th position. Now remember, Benson started on the outside of the front row, but Robert Presley takes away the 12th spot. My goodness, BP, you can't keep up with all the action.
No, you can't. You got to have cameras for all these cars. Oh, that's the very, very close there. Points leader. And look at the jam of cars behind him. And they got to race hard because right behind him is the leaders.
The leaders are coming up on them in a hurry.
Jerry, update us on Mike Skinner.
Boy, you got to feel for Larry McReynolds, that whole Lowe's crew, and they've done about everything they can do on the car. And now the report is that Mike Skinner, who was tight throughout the entire corner, is loose in and tied off. The car will not react or respond at all. I said, Larry, what are you going to do? He said, we're open for suggestions. Right now we're thinking about it, but whatever we've done hasn't worked, and he's way back outside the top 30.
Yeah, he sure is. He's in 31st right now, and Wally Dallenbach is trying to get that spot away from him. For a taste of the race, here's our Brian Meats onboard telemetry. You can see how much Wally Dallenbach is on the brake here behind Mike.
As he comes off the corner now, he finally lifts his foot off the brake and accelerates down the straightaway to 170, 76, 177 miles per hour on the brake. Down to about 142 miles per hour through this corner. And there again, has to brake coming off turn 2. But he dives down to the inside of Skinner. And Skinner gives him the motion. Go ahead on the inside. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Well, he's hard on the brakes there. Had to be.
Meanwhile, the leaders move through some major traffic. Here is Jeff Gordon and Jeremy Mayfield, both challenging Jeff Burton.
Now, folks, this is a recipe for a wreck right here. Those cars trying to stay on the lead lap, and these other drivers jockeying for position as they come up on those lap cars.
Again, for those of you tuning in for the National Car Rental Racing to the Kentucky Derby Gotham Stakes, it was supposed to be on ESPN. However, that is over on ESPN2 because we had an almost 3-hour rain delay.
And there's a lead. Jeff Gordon goes into the lead right behind Brett Bodine. And the 91 car.
Right behind you.
Boy, he had to slam on the brakes when he came up behind Brett Bodine, and that allows Mayfield to get to the inside and take the lead away. And Jeff goes to third. They'll make that second.
And all this has allowed Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, and Dale Jarrett to catch up.
So now the top 6 cars are running right together on the racetrack.
You see Jeff Burton got that great run off the second corner. Pulls on the inside of Jeff Burton. Jeff Gordon takes second spot away. And here comes Tony Stewart.
Well, the fans are loving it.
Oh, I am too.
Great race.
Oh, look out, Jeffrey. See you, Jeff.
You talked about how some of the crews are perhaps having trouble with these new spoiler and front air dam rules, but boy, they sure have accomplished what NASCAR wanted to accomplish, and that is increasing the level of competition, because it has been outstanding in these laps since the race was restarted. Dale Jarrett just made a move on Mark Martin, moving to 5th position. So now it is Mayfield, Burton, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, and Mark Martin running in the top 6 with 101 of 293 laps completed. NASCAR Winston Cup TranSouth Financial 400 back underway after a long rain delay, and because of that, the National Car Rental racing to the Kentucky Derby Gotham Stakes, which was supposed to be on at 4:30 Eastern Time here on ESPN, can now be seen on ESPN2. Please switch over to the Deuce to see that event. We're going to stay with live coverage of the TranSouth Financial 400. It's a great race out there right now. It is Jeremy Mayfield showing the way, but by just a couple of car lengths over Jeff Burton, as the overhead shots come to you courtesy of the Pennzoil Copter Cam.
And Jeff Gordon has caught these guys back as they battle for the lead. Jeff, there you see him come into the picture.
Oh, using all that racetrack right up against that outside retaining wall. Jeff Gordon trying to take a look on the inside of Burton. That takes a spot away. Moves into 2nd spot.
Just a few laps ago, Jeff Gordon made an absolutely breathtaking move that only indicates how great a race driver he is. Look at this, coming out of quarter number 2.
Had the momentum, a couple of cars running side by side. He just whips down on the inside, Tony Stewart, and is that Brett Bodine?
Yep.
And moves right past him. Didn't look back, said, see you guys.
They're the top 3, Mayfield, Gordon, and Jeff Burton, running back in 4th position, about a second and a half. Behind is Tony Stewart, and Dale Jarrett runs in 5th.
One reason these drivers are driving a little bit harder now than they want to, the dark clouds are coming back up in turns 3 and 4. And this race is only about 35 laps from being halfway point. If it gets to halfway and rains, it's probably over. And that's one reason Jeff Gordon right now is probably trying harder than he would. He realizes he needs to get in front in case there is rain at the halfway point.
31 car of Mike Skinner, after losing a lap, running down in 38th position, has decided to come in. Doc?
Well, they have nothing to lose, Bob. The car just not handling. Got a severe problem with the car being loose entering the corner. Pushes up across the racetrack as he exits the corner. And the Winston Cup point leader, who has never had very good luck here at Darlington Raceway, brings that car down pit road in 5 previous runs. He has never finished better than 26 here now. Larry McReynolds led Lowe's crew, changing right side tires. They clean the windshield, get it full of fuel, and now he and other drivers are being told by some of the crew chiefs there is a possibility that rain is 15 to 20 minutes away. He's down off the jack and away.
Skinner coming out of the pits quickly. Here is Jeff Gordon now putting a lap on Jerry Nadeau. Bobby Hamilton is continuing to march forward. He just takes the 7th position now away from Mark Martin.
Elliott Sadler's in the pits. Earnhardt goes a lap down. He is running in 32nd position.
Jeff Gordon gets a run off the corner. He gets alongside Earnhardt. Next car right in front of these cars would be Ted Musgrave, the Polaris Ford.
And some leaders coming in, 99 and 88, are headed for the pits.
Wow. Here they come, making sure they get down below 45 miles an hour as they enter pit road. Here on the front stretch, Burton leading Dale Jarrett down. Another car making a pit stop is Brett Bodine. They go to work on the right side of the Quality Care Ford down to Bill Weber.
And basically, this is a short pit situation. Yes, you want to run 400 miles, but these guys are racing the TranSouth Financial 200 right now. Jeff Burton and his crew talked about making corrections for a long run. Instead, they're going to set the car up for a short run. 99 is away. DJ will not beat him out of pit road. So it'll be 99, 88, 2 quick pit stops. The 20 heading down pit road now.
Robert Presley is in.
Tony
Ward
Stewart.
Burton is in.
A lot of guys coming down pit road now. Right side on the 20 car, beating the windshield. The 28 on pit road, the 94. Also, Ward Burton is on pit road. Terry Labonte is on pit road. He's had a good run. They're around to the left side on Tony Stewart's car. They continue to clean the windshield. The 22 is away. The 20 is away. Jeffrey Bodine is on pit road. The windshield on his car, putting fuel in. Basically, by the fast guys stopping, when they did, they forced the hand of some of these other teams. Jeff Bodine getting his left side tires, the 28 zipped past him on the right-hand side. Now the 60 car is off pit road and away, followed by Terry Labonte and the 55, and here come more of the leaders down pit road.
Mayfield and Gordon both decide to make their pit stops here on the 116th lap. Here they are making their way down pit road.
This is going to be a classic duel between pit crews, getting about 12 people besides the drivers involved. Jeremy Mayfield comes in. Bill?
You talk about races being won and lost on pit road. This race might be won or lost right here. Mayfield slides to a stop. Right side tires going on. Jerry.
Air pressure adjustment, no other changes. Watch the Rainbow Warriors. They want to get out in 16 flat. Back to Bill.
Mayfield's been a little tight off of turn 4. An air pressure adjustment to fix that. He's away. Jerry.
Left side tires, lug nuts. Here goes Gordon. Gordon leaving the pits. Here comes Mayfield. It'll be 24, then 12, 16.1. What a pit stop.
The Rainbow Warriors got the job done. Mayfield, however, passed him.
Yeah, he had the momentum as he was pitting further down pit road, so he came out, and we'll see where that puts him in relations to others. Bill, back to the pits.
Now the STP Pontiac slides to his stop on pit road. These guys had to be very careful. Pit road still very wet from the rain we had earlier. Right side tires for John Andretti. Now they come around to the left side as the pace quickens here on pit road. Again, these cars racing each other, racing the track, and now racing the weather. Fuel is in, a little bit longer on the left side, but John Andretti now continues in the race. And the 18 hits onto the back stretch, and John Kernan is in those pits.
Matt Gibbs at the pit for a 4-tire change. They'll also make a chassis adjustment on the right side car, just a little bit tight. Left side tires going on. Brand new sticker tires going on. Lug nuts tight. He's down and away. A great pit stop for this Joe Gibbs racing crew.
And when all these pit stops are through, Jeff Burton is going to be the leader of this race.
Here's Jimmy Spencer and Ted Musgrave. 75 car is the leader, but he has not made a pit stop. So when he does, as you indicated, Ned, it will be Jeff Burton at the front of the field with Dale Jarrett running in second position. We'll be right back. When we took the break, Ted Musgrave was the leader, but not anymore. He's made his pit stop, and that has put Jeff Burton in the lead with Dale Jarrett running second, Jeremy Mayfield third, Jeff Gordon fourth, Tony Stewart in the fifth position. The Gotham Stakes, part of the National Rental Car Racing to the Kentucky Derby, is over on ESPN2. It was supposed to be here on ESPN. However, because we had almost a 3-hour rain delay, it has forced us to put the Gotham Stakes over on the Deuce. That's where you can see it right now. We'll continue to cover for you this TranSouth Financial 400. 123 laps completed. The halfway distance is 147, and there are some dark, ominous clouds on the horizon. Here's a battle for 7th position. Ward Burton in the 22 and Bobby Hamilton in number 4. Bill Weber, what's the strategy at this point with the dark clouds around?
Well, Bob, a different varies for a bunch of different teams, but Benny and Ned, what these guys are doing now is they're being told, don't worry about saving your tires. Right now, you have to run this like it's to lap 148. Go, go, go. It's no more race the track, no more save your tires. Right now, they are clearly racing to halfway. Interesting change here at Darlington.
On board with Wally Dallenbach. He's running back in 29th position, a lap down. Ward Burton coming up to try to pass him. Ward running in 7th. And once again, the Bill Davis team with Ward Burton having a very, very good race. Ward started this race back in 28th position and was quickly in the top 10 and now finds himself in the 7th spot.
He's about 12.5 seconds behind his brother, Jeff Burton, who is leading this race.
Ward is in the top 10 in points for only the first time since Sears Point in May of 1997. There's brother Jeff, who's at the front of the field, now almost 1 1/10 second ahead of Jared.
Look at this traffic that he's coming up on. He got by a couple of them there pretty easy, but boy, was that heavy, Benny.
I'm telling you, and you will see Benson right in front of him. There's Buckshot Jones, Jimmy Spencer, all these cars wanting to stay in the lead lap. Also right behind him, Kevin LePage, the Prime Star car, wanting to get a lap back. And here comes Dale Jarrett, so he can't take it easy. He has to run hard to stay in front of Jarrett.
DJ has been picking up about 1/10 of a second a lap on him since they came out of the pits. He got about 2 seconds behind, and now it's down to 85/100ths of a second.
Jarrett has won the last 2 TranSouth Financial 400s. Now Buckshot Jones is already 2 laps down. However, the car that's trying to stay on the lead lap is Johnny Benson there in the yellow Cheerios car. He started 2nd and is back in 21st, the last car on the lead lap. We understand that Buckshot Jones came into this race also with the flu, as has been the case with Mark Martin. And he had Todd Bodine standing by to possibly relief drive, but Buckshot staying in the car. And that's how close Benson is to going a lap down.
And we're going to see these 2 cars in front of him, Jimmy Spencer and Johnny Benson, run as hard as they can to stay in front. What happens if the caution flag should come out? The pace car goes out and gets in front of the 99 car. These 2 cars in front, the 23, 26, are able to go all the way around and make up 1 mile and 3/8, and that's what they're trying to do.
Check out an AutoZone on-track interval here.
And we see that times we're back, again, with those fresher tires, we're back to almost 30 seconds flat. But each lap, Jeff Burton has been much slower than Dale Jarrett, so it's obvious that he gained almost 3/4 of a second.
And Jeremy Mayfield, he's in 3rd position. He's 3.79 seconds behind. Now, Jeff Gordon was over 7 seconds behind. Right now, he's cut that down to 5.4, so Gordon is very, very fast.
And there goes Johnny Benson. He gets by Spencer and almost loses it right in front of his teammate, Jeff Burton, but he gets it under control. Burton dives down to the inside.
That's all it took for Benson to lose a lap. Just a little loose coming out of the corner, and boom, he's a lap down.
Now, DJ right now has 2 Roush cars that are lapped down right between him and the leader.
Ernie Irvan has had an impressive run, especially when you consider the fact that he is pitting on the backstretch. Ernie Irvan is in 9th position.
And we see Chad Little going by. Also Ricky Rudd. There comes Ernie Irvan along. Bill Elliott right behind him. Bill in 10th spot. I'll tell you, the last 3 races, Ernie Irvan, the M&M's car, has been very, very impressive.
Did not qualify well, but is racing well. John Kernan.
Ernie started 37th, now moved up into the 9th position. The last pit stop right in that 17-second range of 4 tire change. They also made a chassis adjustment because the car was just a little bit tight, so they loosened it up a little bit. And Ryan Pemberton, his crew chief, said, now Ernie, go for it. And he's already picked up 3 positions since the pit stop. So Ernie Irvan is on the move, running lap times nearly as fast as has the leader.
And there is Bill Elliott with 19 top 5 and 30 top 10 finishes here in 42 starts, running right behind Ernie Irvan. Back up front, meanwhile, it is on the far left of your screen. Jeff Burton, the leader of the race. Couple of lap cars between him and second place Dale Jarrett. Here's Jarrett moving to the inside of Benson.
And with these drivers running into this lap traffic, Jeff Gordon has cut his deficit down to less than 4 seconds. Of course, he'll have to pass that same traffic.
Look at that statistic. Has led 70% of 1998 Darlington laps, 468 of 660, but no wins. There's a 12, Jeremy Mayfield.
He's third. He is 2.72 seconds behind the leader. And then Jeff Gordon, as you saw, was pretty close to him, 3.55 seconds.
There is Jeff Gordon, who is running in fourth position, about 3.5 seconds back. Jerry?
Some of the weather people in the area that basically work for different teams have come in and told some of the folks here in the Hendricks 24 pit that the weather or the rain is about 11 miles out. Rick Hendrick just told me that they have basically now told Jeff Gordon the tire conservation theory is over. Go for it. First one to 147 will win.
And we're going to make it to halfway in the next 3 or 4 minutes. So these guys do need to have to run as hard as they possibly can, because it doesn't appear as though this race is going to run 400 miles.
Dale Jarrett just lost about a second to to Jeff Burton, as he's trying to get by Jimmy Spencer and slipped coming off of turn 2 and got way behind.
On board with the 5th place car of Tony Stewart. He started 10th and has gained half the positions he needs.
Right now, Tony is 8.72 seconds behind the leader.
There's Mark Martin running the Xerox colors this weekend for only this one race. He is in 6th position.
He's 10.2 seconds behind.
Next car back is the WC4 car, Bobby Hamilton, Kodak Film Chevrolet.
He's 12.2 seconds behind.
As Elliott Sadler watches him go by. WC Ward Burton, the Caterpillar car, back in 8th spot. He's 15.25 seconds behind the leader, Jeff Burton.
That's not quite a half a lap.
Mike Skinner goes by. Mike Skinner's 30th spot, 1 lap back for the leader of the 1999 Winston Cup points standings. Ernie Irvan in 9th spot, started 37th. Good run, Ernie.
And the 28 car has just moved up into the top 10. A few laps ago, Bill Elliott was running in 10th spot, but since that time, Kenny Irwin in the 28 car has moved into 10th, and there you see Bill Elliott running back there in 11th position. And the 18 car of Kenseth is up to 12th.
He is doing a masterful job at driving that race car. Remember, he had to, when they changed drivers, he had to start at the rear of the pack. He's up to 12th.
Man, what a job he is doing. Let's watch Matt Kenseth when he goes down in turn 3. Goes in the corner, turns it. That's what we're talking. Turns it. No, he's not pushing very much, because he's going back to the right a couple of times, catching the back end of that car as he goes through the corner.
Now, the guy that's right behind him is Bill Elliott, and he is the driver that Matt substituted for at Dover last year when Bill's father died. And Kenseth took Elliott's car to a 6th place finish after starting 16th in his only NASCAR Winston Cup start. With a pretty impressive record here at the track. Too tough to tame. 5 wins and 30 top 10 finishes.
Now, right now, that 18 car of Kenseth is 25.7 seconds behind, so he's really only about 5 seconds from going a lap down, or 6 seconds. There are 19 cars on the lead lap. Sterling Marlin is the last car on the lead lap. Jimmy Spencer is the first of those 1 lap down.
Jeffrey Bodine and Ted Musgrave. That's not for position. Musgrave is a lap down. Jeffrey is in 14th spot. But meanwhile, right back there is Robert Presley and Terry Labonte and Steve Park. All these cars batting for 15th, 16th, 17th.
It's now 5 o'clock Eastern time, and again, for those of you who have tuned into ESPN for something else, in this case, the LPGA Standard Register Ping Tournament, you can switch over to ESPN2 and see that right now. We're going to stay with our coverage of this TranSouth Financial 400 until its conclusion, whether it's a number of laps or rain. And when we do conclude this event, then the women's golf will come back to ESPN.
And Steve Park made that move. Robert Presley got up high and almost bumped the concrete.
That was coming off of turn 2. He did really have a anxious moment there.
Well, we are what? 3 laps away from being an official race. The halfway point is 140. You can see how dark the skies are back there. The halfway point is 147, so they'll have to run 148. And oh boy, this does not look good. But we are to that almost to the halfway point, so that's the good news. Would be nice if we could finish this whole distance, but doesn't look like that Mother Nature is going to cooperate with us on this Sunday afternoon.
And Jeff Burton is just pulling away from Dale Jarrett. He now has built it up almost to a 3-second lead. At one time, Jarrett had cut it down to about a half a second, but Burton got through that traffic and took off.
And you see Terry Labonte trying to get underneath Jeffrey Bodine. Can't do it. You see a snapshot of Jeffrey, 28th in points. Apparently running 14th. There we see Labonte.
Again, Jeffrey Bodine has had good runs in 1999 with this new team, but 3 of 4 races he has DNF. There's the halfway point. Now we need one more for it to become official race, and I think we're going to make that.
But we've already made it, because if they come down to take the checkered flag, they will run one more lap. So
that's right.
Steve Park going on the inside of Jeffrey Bodine, taking away the 15th spot.
There's Kyle Petty in the car number 44, also passing Bodine.
There's Frankie Stoddard. He's looking at the sky and saying, okay, open up anytime. Bill Weber has more.
Yeah, he also keeps calling up to his spotter and saying, is it raining up there yet? Is it raining up there yet? Start doing your dance. Start doing your dance. All the spotters relaying to their crews what the weather conditions they can see from high above the track. It is very breezy, temperature dropping, and very dark over the main grandstand here.
The 77 car of Robert Presley just lost a lap. 17 cars remain on the lead lap as Jeff Burton continues to show the way here with a battle between Mayfield and Dale Jarrett for second spot, and Mayfield takes it away. Oh, you saw some lightning back there too. And another team that wouldn't mind seeing the caution come out right now for rain is the 18 car, John.
Last lap by, Matt Kenseth radioed in and said the car's a little loose. I'm a little hard on the right rear tire. So, guys, he's running in 12th right now. Everybody else down here is waiting for the rain to start. Matt said, next pit stop, let's tighten this car up just a little bit. Jimmy Makar smiled, a wide smile from ear to ear, and said, okay, gotcha, Matt. You want more bite on the next pit stop.
Matt is thinking about going the full distance here this afternoon. He's having such a great run out there, and Bobby Labonte is obviously very pleased with the performance of young Matt Kenseth, substituting for Bobby, who broke his right shoulder blade in a bush crash earlier this weekend. We're only 154 laps into the TranSouth Financial 400 here at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. For those of you tuning on to watch the LPGA Standard Register Ping Tournament, you can tune over to ESPN2 for coverage of that event. And then when we're finished here in Darlington, if necessary, we will show you the LPGA tournament back here on ESPN. So stay with us for complete coverage. Right now, the question is it going to rain in the next few minutes? It apparently is close, but still not raining. The overhead copter cam, Pennzoil copter cam, shows you the leader, Jeff Burton, who has a 2.69 second lead on Jeff Gordon, who has moved to second, Jeremy Mayfield third, then Dale Jarrett and Mark Martin. Jerry Punch.
Well, that time by, we were able to feel just a few drops of moisture from the clouds down here entering turn one. We're at the far end of pit road, down in the 24 pit, and there's a very, very dark cell right above the racetrack. Some of the darker stuff is circulated around behind the racetrack. I hope we get lucky, but we did feel a few drops last time by.
And one of the big problems, although it isn't really reflected here on our coverage because our cameras are able to keep so much light in them, but it is really dark.
It's very difficult looking out our windows to see the cars as they go down the backstretch. But we have a monitor we can watch as we see Jeremy Mayfield, third place car, 12 car, trying to go on the inside of Sterling Marlin. And there's the 88 of Dale Jarrett. He's in fourth spot. 40 car is a lap down.
Sterling is in 18th position in the 40 car, Sterling Marlin.
And the 25 car, Wally Dallenbach, looks like he has lost an engine. Or is that the left rear tire that's flat? The engine is running. We see it's turning 4,500 RPM, so it may be the left rear tire is flat.
I think you're right, Benny.
Wally back in 35th position, 2 laps down.
You see the left rear fender back there where the tire is flat is beating the sheet metal around on that left side. Tough break.
John Curran is there as Wally comes in his backstretch pit.
And Bob, I saw it when he came down the backstretch. It looked like the left rear tire was flat. And now as he comes into his pit stall and rolls to the south, yes, indeed, the left rear tire is flat. And they will go to work on the right side. Wally, who had started out the season with 3 great runs, with that a disappointing run last week, he just told his crew, man, this is unbelievable. Now they're on the left side. The left side tire's coming off. Now going on. And you can see where the he's just on the inner liner as the whole tread, now the tread that came off the tire is wrapped around the rear wheel. Up in the rotor. And now they've got a cut brake line, they say. So Wally will have to be really careful when he goes out. Now they'll take that left rear tire back up and they'll try and flip off that, close off that left rear brake line. And you can see the fluid down on the ground. And now they're working on it. And, oh, man, just a bad break for Wally Dallenbach's crew.
Meanwhile, we understand there is raindrops being felt on the backstretch. Here is Jeff Burton coming up on the 9 car of Jerry Nadeau.
I see Steve Park, and there we see some rain in the puddles. The wind is blowing, and the fans
had trouble here.
Trouble!
A big wreck.
Kenny Irwin is involved. Jerry Nadeau is running right ahead of Jeff Burton is involved, and Jeff, I believe, is also, is he not? It looks like, I think the front of his car is all messed up.
The 99 car, the right front tire is going the wrong way. He's made contact with someone.
Yes, he has.
But the caution flag is out. Will it run 45 miles per hour? Because there is some rain.
And still some activity here on the front stretch. Ernie Irvin becomes involved.
I think he had spun coming off turn 4. And there we see Jeff Burton with that right front wheel towed out 3 or 4 inches. Bill Weber?
It is towed out. They're telling him, stay on the racetrack, stay on the racetrack. The reports say this rain is here to stay. Jeff Burton very, very upset and frustrated, but did take the caution. They continue to talk to him, but the car is towed out.
Wow,
well,
can you believe this?
He wants this race to end now. He wants a downpour with no chance of getting the track dry. And if it did come a downpour, there probably wouldn't be a chance to get it dry.
And you can see it is raining pretty doggone hard. There is Kenny Irwin, whose car was very badly tore up in this accident here on the front stretch, along with the Ricky Craven car. We understand that Jeff Gordon might have also become damaged in that incident.
But look at the rain. Look at the rain on the screen. And Jeff Burton is saying, please throw this red flag. Throw this red flag. And Jeff Gordon has almost the same damage to the right front of his car.
But right now the yellow flag is waving, not the red, so they're going to continue to run under caution here for maybe a few laps to see whether or not this rain continues. Here's the replay.
That's Jeff Burton, and the wreck has started. The wreck has started. There we see Burton gets in the back of Jerry Nadeau. He goes up and smacks the wall. And I guess that's where he did the damage to the right front.
Yep, I would say so. He didn't hit anything after that, so I'm sure when his right front wheel hit that wall, here we'll see it again.
This is from our Pennzoil copter cam. There is a wreck that's going to happen right in front of these guys. And there, yes, Burton hits that wall hard.
There's Irvin up against the outside wall. Kenny Irwin down toward the inside, and Craven. And, oh, Jeff Gordon hits Nadeau.
Jerry Nadeau slides down and just barely. And the 12 car, I think, got by Jeff Gordon, and maybe the 88 car.
I'm sure the 12 car did. I'm not sure when they got to start-finish line if the 88 was in front of the 24 or not. It's showing on the screen that he is.
Well, this is the beginning of the crash. Oh, look at the hard contact that Kenny Irwin has.
It's Ernie Irvin that spun coming off turn 4. And the, I guess, is that the Craven car that tried to dodge Ernie, and he made contact with.
And Frankie Stoddard is saying, look at those clouds.
Look at that rain. He's become a weatherman all of a sudden.
Well, they're going to bring him down pit road, it would appear, while they clear the debris here on the straightaway. And boy, that car is a mess.
It's not going to make many more laps under caution.
No, it's not at this speed.
And the rain continues to fall. Bill is with Buddy Parrott.
And he's with Jack Roush. They've run down. Frank Stoddard has run down to his car. Buddy, obviously, this is you timed it out almost perfectly. How badly is that car torn up?
That car is tore up, man. It's got the right front knocked off of it, and he's already broke the interliner. I mean, the interliner's gone down on the tire. So, you know, the good Lord willing, we're going to win this race. If he, that's just all I can say. And it looks like it's coming down. Doesn't it feel good?
Well, they had to keep that car running until NASCAR put out the red flag. Jeff Burton obviously thrilled with the situation that the race has been stopped. Not very happy with the incident that brought out the caution. And they were doing rain dances down here. They had excellent strategy. I got to tell you, they were calling out his lap time. He gets a hug from his crew chief, Frank Stoddard. They went ahead and decided to make, well, the car is overheating, and it was actually overheating earlier before they pitted, and that problem went away. That was one reason Jeff could not run in traffic. But they really used some excellent strategy, as did some other teams here on pit road, and then they got a huge break from the weather. They almost got a terrible break with that wreck. What a sport.
Here's a situation. If the track is wet, there is no way they can restart this race, because it's going to take about an hour or an hour and a half to dry the track, and we'll be completely dark by then.
Yes.
So we are just sort of waiting here for the track to get completely wet to the point where they cannot possibly get it dry again before it sets in with darkness. And what an interesting closing couple of laps.
Very bizarre situation.
And it's been that way all weekend, Ned. Since you and I got here on Friday, and we saw all those Busch cars crash, and then Bobby broke his right shoulder blade. It's just been a really bizarre, but in some ways a very typical weekend for Darlington.
Well, Darlington, you come to expect the unexpected. You just don't know what's going to happen next, and that's the reason they call it the track too tough to tame, because you never know what's lurking around the next corner.
There is the badly damaged car of Kenny Irwin, who, along with Ricky Craven and Ernie Irvin, were involved in this crash here on the front stretch that has made the end of this race very, very interesting, or at least the possible end of this race. We have completed 164 of the 293 laps, so we're well beyond the halfway point. Jeff Burton hopes it's over. ESPN welcomes you back to the TranSouth Financial 400, being brought to you by Citgo. You know a neighbor when you see one. By Ford, maker of vehicles that are built to last. And by Hot Wheels Racing, the hottest NASCAR diecast collectibles. Well, we're under, once again, red because of rain. Let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch.
First of all, Jeff Burton, that incident just a moment ago out of turn 4, it's hard to see. I mean, what was your involvement?
I saw the wreck, and I got slowed down, but there must have been something on the racetrack, because I got slowed down, and it just kept going straight and hit the wall pretty hard. It's tore all to heck. wasn't like I ran up on it, was surprised by it. I saw it. They wreck off turn 4. I slowed down, went to turn, and it just went straight. And so I don't know if I got out of the groove. It was so dark. It was getting so dark you couldn't see. So it's possible I was out of the groove. I don't know. But, you know, we're praying for rain pretty hard. The XI4's really fast, but it's tore up bad now. So if it doesn't rain, we'll finish last. And if it does rain, we'll win.
Well, that might be justice, though, considering what you told us earlier today when you said, you know, you've led the most laps here a number of times, dominated Darlington, but never been able to go to victory lane. It might be appropriate to take a car that looks like it has been beaten by a sledgehammer over to victory lane.
Well, there's a lot of daylight left, and I'm not the most optimistic person all the time, so I don't know what the radar looks like. Time's certainly not in NASCAR's favor. We've got to drive the track, and that's going to take a while. So if we can just get this rain for the next 20 minutes or so, then we'll probably be okay.
I heard you say just before that caution came out to your crew chief, Frankie Sauter, that the track was getting cold and losing grip.
Well, you never know if it's a track or the tires. You know, here it's so abrasive on the tires. This is a new tire for Goodyear. It's a really good tire. It's got great tire wear, but it eats them up so bad. The racetrack eats them up, and I thought we were getting a little better grip right there for the last 5 laps. The car started feeling better, and Frank did a great job, made some calls during that caution when we pitted and beat everybody out. Great pit stop. I got in on off pit road good, and he got the car perfect. And you know, if we lose because of this, then we lose because of this. But we had the car we needed to have.
Indeed. I saw your teammate Mark Martin come over and give you a hug a moment ago and say he must think the radar looks pretty bad because he was coming over to congratulate you prematurely.
Well, I'm lucky to have Mark Martin as a fan, so he's wanting it to rain for me. That's it's special to have a teammate like that.
All right, we'll hang here and see if we get any word from NASCAR. Let's check in with Bill Weber, who's hanging by with Kenny Irwin.
And it's a disgusted Kenny Irwin. You've been standing here shaking your head. What happened?
You know, I've been thinking about what I was going to tell you, but, you know, the 36 car just lost it off turn 4, and that just started it. I tried to go under him. Well, when I did, the 58 come down, and he didn't have anywhere to go either. Everybody was just trying to clear the 36 when he spun, so just a bad deal because, you know, we were probably going to end up in the top 10, which is what we needed today.
Was it wet out there, Kenny, when that started? Do you know?
No, it wasn't. I mean, it had just started to sprinkle, but, I mean, everybody was on old tires, and I think that was the cause of when he spun.
Okay, sorry it had to happen. You had a good run going. Best of luck next week.
Thanks.
Let's get down to John Kernan.
Standing alongside Bobby Labonte and his crew chief, Jimmy Makar. And right now, Bobby's relief driver, Matt Kenseth, sits in the 10th position. Not too shabby, huh? Bobby's done a good job for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, when we picked him Friday afternoon or Friday morning, that was we thought he'd do a great job, and he's done a great job. And the car was a little tight for him when he got in it and made an adjustment and got a little bit loose. So if it does dry off, we'll try to get in between that.
What about next week? I would imagine the same scenario. You guys going to chat with Matt again to see if he can help you out next week?
Well, we're going to take it one day at a time. You know, it's only Sunday, so we're going to go to work Monday in rehab and do some stuff all week next week if we can until Friday gets here, and then we'll kind of evaluate it and see where we're at. But at least running a few laps this morning or this afternoon helped out. Got me where it didn't really feel all that bad. Better than I thought it'd be. So that relieved a lot of pressure on my mind, I think, just knowing that I got back in there and I felt a lot better with it.
Well, a lot of people are hoping for the rain to continue, but we swing over here to Jimmy Makar, and you say, hey, let's go back racing again. Aren't you satisfied with 10th place?
I don't think racers are ever satisfied. You know, we got a good race car. Matt's doing a real good job for us. I think we obviously got a better car than what's shown on the scoreboard. He's had to come from last all the way to 10th. And like Bobby said, I think if we make one more adjustment to the car, I think he can run in the top 5 with it with no problem. So it's good for him. I just like to see him get to run a few more laps. Obviously, anything can happen if you get back out racing again. But I think he's having a good time. We're having a good time with him, and it's been a lot of fun. Like to have Bobby Labonte in that race car, obviously, but I think we can gain a little bit if we go back racing.
Believe it or not, probably the only people here who want to run some more laps today.
Well, if they don't, Matt has certainly a lot to be proud of because he has, as was indicated, driven that car up to 10th place. Well, here is the bizarre happenings as the red flag was about to come out.
Ernie Irvin, we haven't seen him spin yet, but he's up in front of this accident. And all of a sudden, Jeff Burton's right. The car just veered directly to the right. That was Jerry Nadeau down there, Ricky Craven, and the
28 car, Kenny Irwin, also on the inside. I guess Kenny Irwin probably had more damage than anyone, although this 99 car is torn up pretty good.
We can see the 99 go under Mike Skinner. He makes that pass okay, and then the car just shot straight up into the wall.
Yeah, it's like there was oil or moisture or something on the racetrack, and you know, Bill, one of the reporters down there said that Ernie thought that he might have hit something. There was the 24 car of Jeff Gordon going down making some contact.
And Buddy Parrott and Jack Roush celebrate the beginning of the rain because they, of course, maintain the lead at this point. However, if we have to go back to racing, they are in big trouble because they've got a very badly damaged race car. Jerry, we got some official word.
They are celebrating down here as the rain clouds open up, and Jeff Burton, you have won the 43rd TranSouth 400. Congratulations.
I have to tell you, I'm a little speechless. To win Darlington means a lot to me, and win like that, I don't know how you can do it much better than that.
A couple of years ago, you showed a tremendous amount of class when you rubbed Jeff Gordon. He was going for $1 million. You guys backed away. He won the $1 million. You said in the garage area, my day will come. My friend, it is here. Congratulations.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun driving that tore-up thing in Victory Lane because it's we might have to get the lift gate to get it up on there, but we're going to take it however we can get it. We had a great pit stop, got us in front of everybody. We made the right calls on the car, and that got us the win. And we're having luck right now.
Frankie, congratulations. Your first one at Darlington.
Boy, it's sweet. This is for Buddy Parrott. You know, when he was the crew chief, we didn't close the deal, you know, for him at all. And here today, you know, Buddy was on top of the box with me, helping me. And he looked at me and he said, you know, hey, look, you know, what do you think about shortstopping? And I was thinking the same thing. It didn't take much convincing on either one of our parts. And, you know, we came in, the 88 came with us. And then the guys had a great pit stop. And both stops today, we picked up a spot or two both times. Just proud of the Exide battery team and proud of Jeff Burton. You know, that kid drives Darlington as good as anybody that I've ever seen, including David Pearson. And he deserved to win a race here. I'm glad we got it today.
All right, Frankie, go celebrate. Here's Jack Roush. They're all hugging down here. Back to you, Bob.
It's his 7th career win for Jeff Burton, and it comes on a bizarre weekend at Darlington. Here are the results. 12 cars finish on the lead lap. Matt Kenseth, in substitution for Bobby Labonte, brought the 18 car home in 10th place. Rick Mast, Bill Elliott, and all the other of these guys just one lap down through the 30th position. 31 through 43, you see that everybody was running at the end of the race, including Ken Schrader, who was involved in a very early incident. And how about the points? Well, Jeff Burton is now at the top of the point standings, replacing Mike Skinner, who drops to 5th. Jeff Gordon goes to 2nd. Bobby Labonte is now in 3rd position. There's the live celebration. A little less than victory lane that you normally see, but nevertheless, Jeff Burton will take the win. He's now the points leader in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Stay tuned for golf. Linda Cohn and Judy Rankin will be picking up the coverage of the LPGA in just a moment. Stay with us as we bring you that back from the deuce over to ESPN. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, go.com. So long, everyone.